Y'all know who it is. It's your favorite Unc, and I'm riding around here in Vegas with my guy Keith Lee, and he's the internet's most popular and famous food critic. He was named one of Forbes 30 Under 30 class member for 2024, a viral food and local restaurant reviewer, charitable influencer, and advocate for small businesses. One of the top digital content creators, social media superstar and sensation, king of TikTok food community. He has over 19 million followers between TikTok and Instagram, a former mixed martial arts fighter, beloved father, husband, and he's the people champ, Keith Lee.
God, that's amazing, man. I'm honored.
I appreciate
absolutely.
it, bro.
All my life, been grinding all my life. Sacrifice, hustle, pay the price. Want a slice, got to roll the dice. That's why all my life, I've been grinding all my life. Look, all my life, been grinding all my life. Sacrifice, hustle, pay the price. Want a slice, got to roll the dice. That's why all my life, I've been grinding all my life.
I'm excited about this,
who
bro.
you was intro, and I said, who that? I don't know who that man is.
But I appreciate
All right,
this tour of Vegas and some of the local hot spots.
Let's do it. Yeah, I'm excited.
I'm super excited.
For sure.
What are the 5 best cities for food?
Top 5 in order.
You can put them in order if you like, or you can just give me your top 5.
My order, personally.
Yes.
New Orleans is number 1.
Okay.
Houston is number 2.
Okay.
Chicago is number 3.
Wow.
Toronto will be 4.
Okay.
Right now, I would go Miami. Yeah, if I had to think of where I would go back, I would go Miami for sure.
Man.
But top 3 is solid. My top 3 is New Orleans, Houston, and Chicago.
Wow.
Solid.
No Atlanta, no New York.
So, very specific reasons why I say that, right?
Yeah.
So for those that don't know, we go on food tour, but we go on food tour for people that look like us and people who come from the background that we come from.
Okay.
So we specifically do it for people that can jump on a plane, that are foodies and just want to go try food.
Right.
So I don't do it in a way where you can go call the biggest influencer in that city or the biggest celebrity and have them chauffeur you around and show you places. I do it specifically for people that literally just want to go try food.
Okay.
So we go to spots that are more on the unknown level, places that only locals know about. If you know kind of places that have great food, great customer service, but can need the marketing. But we also go to staples of the community to show respect to each city that we go to. So when I'm picking these places that are my top 5, is more on accessibility.
Okay.
Like, what's the easiest to jump on a plane and just go get some great food?
Okay.
And I feel like New York isn't in that top 5 for me because the accessibility of to know the spots is really hard to find great spots unless you're from there.
Correct.
And if you do meet somebody that's from there, if y'all not super close, if you just meeting this person for the first time, they more than likely not gonna give you the spots that they go to.
Right.
Because 1, they don't want the spots blown up, so they don't want everybody there. 2, they aren't a super welcoming group of people.
Right.
They want you to be a tourist and that's it. But once you start venturing off of that and you start digging into like local spots and spots they've been going to for years and spots they have nostalgia attached to, they don't want no parts of it.
What's the best cities to get pizza in?
New York got that.
New York.
Yeah, New York got that. That was one of the best things that we had when we was there was pizza. I'm from Detroit, so I like a deep dish, thick, hearty.
I'll try, but I ain't a
full.
deep dish.
Oh, I'm a deep dish.
I like the thin.
See, but that's because you from Atlanta.
Yeah.
Understood.
Yeah. I feel
Are
like
you
I'm
born
in
and raised in LA?
cheesecake. I'm from South Georgia.
Georgia. Understood. Understood.
Yeah, but I see like when I get that deep dish, I feel like I'm eating a piece of cake or something.
That's pretty much yeah. See, now if you don't like a super thick, then I would say. But personally, like I said, I'm from Detroit, so I like a deep dish. I like the dough to be super high quality and to be the main focus.
What's the 5 most underrated cities?
Oh, you put me on the spot. Let's go then, Shannon. Top 5 most underrated. I will go Detroit.
Okay.
I feel like not a lot of people know that Detroit has a food scene. Seattle, I feel like is one of those places, again, if you know, you know. If you're a true foodie, you know Seattle has a great food scene.
Yeah.
Baton Rouge is a place that is very specific now. Like it's black people, country food. So if you are into country food, I'm talking about hog maw, neck bone, smothered, everything smothered and covered, then Baton Rouge is definitely a underknown spot.
Arizona.
Oh, Arizona. That's perfect. Arizona. I feel like Arizona is underrated. And the reason I say that is because you get a lot of healthy spots, but you also get very authentic from my knowledge, authentic
Southwestern
food. Even they have a really big native population, so you get native food.
Yep.
And I've never been to a place that has native food.
Right.
Milwaukee got a good food scene that's pretty underrated.
Wow.
Yep. Oh, Dallas. Dallas got a food scene that's definitely underrated.
Really?
For sure. It's hit or miss because it's a place that like doesn't have much of a big food culture other than barbecue and southern Texas roots. But as far as stepping into other cuisines and other ethnicities, they don't really do it that much.
Right.
So, but the barbecue alone carries.
Yeah.
It's some of the best barbecue I've ever had in my life.
What about the worst? Where you go like, man, y'all they be hyping this up and it ain't even like that.
Food wise?
Yeah.
Yeah. So
you gonna start talking about it, lad. I just want you to know. That's my home.
It's based off of our experience.
Absolutely. So for me, Atlanta, and I'm so happy you asking this. Atlanta had really good food. Atlanta had a good food scene. It's just you have to be somebody in order to get food. Do you have to name drop when you go to Atlanta and get food?
Nah, because I really don't go. The places that I go to, they kind of know me. So when I call and they're gonna take care of me. But I ain't. No.
But do you feel like if they didn't know Shannon Sharp?
No, hell no, I ain't getting in. They like, hell no.
And that's exactly why I say we do the food tour for people that really want to jump on a plane and just go get food.
Yeah.
If we go to a place specifically because I'm Keith Lee and we go eat at the best restaurant and people want to jump on a plane and go try that spot,
they're not going to be able to get the service. They're not going to be able to get it.
Not only the service, they're not going to be able to get the food.
Right.
They going to go in there and they're like, oh, we ain't got no bookings for the rest of the day,
right.
this, that, third. But let Shannon Sharp walk in. We got 6 tables is wide open. We about to clean them right now. You get the fresh food. So that's one of the main catalysts of why we do.
So it's not so much the food, it's the service.
Absolutely.
In order to get the food.
Yeah,
okay.
Yeah, for sure.
Are you surprised you got so much blowback for when you critiqued Atlanta and you let them know that it's not so much the food, it's the service? If you're not somebody, you're not getting in. They're always crowded. They're always booked, and they only treat people that of influence.
Was I surprised? No, because it's like ripping a Band-Aid off of something that people didn't know was a scar, right? If you from there and you was born and raised in that environment, you don't know no better. Right. You think that that's what the food scene is, and you think that's what culture is, right? Because that's part of Atlanta's culture.
Right.
I just came from a perspective of somebody who wasn't from there and somebody who was experiencing it for the first time. The death threats and whatnot, was I surprised about that? Yeah.
Damn.
That was the first time I ever experienced something like that.
People taking food that serious?
Oh, it's bad. It's real. Even in DC, we got a death threat from a guy who's a rapper out there. And he talking about next time he come, instead of reviewing food, we gonna review his life or something like that. We just eating food, man. Yeah, it's like, my opinion isn't the end all be all.
No.
I understand that everybody has a different opinion on food, and I always say that, but I get how the internet gets too. And I don't blame them because people are prideful in where they come from.
Right.
And people have a lot of love and nostalgia in the city that they come from, and they feel personally attacked. And I want to put it on the record right now that when we go for the food tour, it's not to find what the best food is. It's specifically to highlight the restaurants that have great food, great customer service, but can need marketing and don't get the marketing specifically because either they in a food desert to where a lot of people don't have access to the food that they would need or want, or 2, it's a location-based place, or 3, it's a place where the owners have put so much into the restaurant itself that they don't have the time or the money to market.
Right.
Because a lot of people who do food reviews, that's why I don't consider myself a food influencer or a food creator, any of that, because I don't charge restaurants anything.
Right.
When I first started, people was telling me I could charge anywhere from $5,000 to $10,000 per video for a restaurant. And I know people that do that charge way more than that. But I specifically do it for the restaurants, and I don't charge them a dime. So that's what the food tour is about. It's about marketing these places, and it's about going out and trying food that my mom can go in the next day and get the same experience that we got.
Look, like old school whoopings can't sit on my ass.
Yeah, Atlanta had good brunch. Yeah, Atlanta had good brunch for sure. Yeah,
you call hell getting in there for brunch.
Yeah, Atlanta, and I don't want that to be mistaken at all. Atlanta has. Really good food.
You're not saying they don't have good food.
Yeah, Atlanta has really
good brunch
food.
Or anything. You're just saying the customer service.
I
the
really
way,
like the people in Atlanta. Yeah. I love how many of us is out there. I love the wealth that's out there and the things that those kids that are from there are exposed to when it comes to Black wealth, when it comes to Black excellence, when it comes to a community that's built around us, for us. I never want that to be lost in translation. When it comes to the mecca of what we do and the highlight of us is Atlanta. But at the same time, if you ain't got a certain status or a certain million followers, you better cook at home. For sure.
Or eat before you leave at home, because the wait gonna be a minute.
1,000%.
Yeah.
Me and Unc are at Calabash African Kitchen, and he trying fufu for the first time. He said he ain't never had it, so.
Fufu and oxtails.
And this is a place, in my opinion, that I've had before that's a 10 out of 10. I take all my family here whenever they come in town. So here we got the oxtails.
Boy, that thing look good.
We got a big potato in the middle with the oxtails on the outside. We got carrots, and then its own au jus, and its own juices. Now, you said a bunch of people told you about fufu.
Yes.
Like Kamaro.
Yeah, Michael Blackson, Kamaru Usman, Francis Ngannou.
And me, out of all people, is the one that got fufu in your hand? Yeah.
But that's that.
Say that.
So,
God is amazing.
So what I do, I pinch it.
So you take off the plastic and you take you a little nibble. They are much more experienced than I am when it comes to fufu.
That's all that little bit you got?
Take me a little dab of do. Get you in there, make sure you get you a good piece of the meat. And these oxtails falling off the bone too. Talk to me, Unc.
I'm the fufu.
Ooh, shit. They say that you're supposed to swallow it and not chew it, but I'm not advanced for that yet. So please, if you have to, chew it up. It's seasoned, it's tender, flavored literally from the beginning to the end.
The fufu is something I don't know what to compare it to because I've never had it before.
It's more a tool to use to get all of the flavors that's in the dish itself. So usually the dishes are very flavor forward and real spice forward. So you just use that as like a breakup, kind of like you would a white rice.
Right.
Not saying I'm comparing it to white rice, but like kind of a breakup of the flavor so you can get that balance.
I like the oxtails. I do. But I've had more tender.
Understood.
But I do like the flavor though.
What you rate out of 10?
They season to perfection. The flavor, the seasoning, taste, I combine everything. It's 8.5.
That's real good. Yeah, Shannon. Hey, that's real high, especially for somebody who's never had oxtail done in this way and done with fufu itself. Almost a 9 is crazy. Yeah, in my opinion, this is still a 10. I wouldn't change anything about this dish. Only thing, you're right, it is a little less tender than I would like it. But I think that's done during a batch, or it can be changed during a batch.
Right.
Certain batches are a little more tender than other batches.
Plus the thing you got to factor in is that when a restaurant cooks, they're cooking for a lot of people. So it's kind of really hard to control it when you're cooking for so many. Normally when I had my oxtail and I'm at home, they're cooking for 1 to 2 people.
Right.
So I really can control everything. But look,
I've had it from here, more tender.
I promise you,
they are delicious.
You won't be disappointed with this.
Absolutely.
You will not.
Let me ask you this. Is it worth the mentioning and the hype that you've been getting for years from multiple people, the people you just named, and just people in general, especially being from African descent?
Yeah. I see people eat it. I see a lot of times you see shows where they're doing it. And I always wonder what it was. I was like, what's that little white, what's that ball they got? And they explained to me that it was fufu. It was a native dish. I like it. Like I said, I don't really know what to compare it to. So I couldn't, the taste, I don't really know if I've ever tasted anything quite like this. So
I think it's just a heavy carb. I think it's just a good carb substitute. And it's handmade most times. It's hand kneaded and hand mashed. And you can just taste the love and the time and care that they put into it. In my opinion, if you've never been to Calabash African Kitchen here in Vegas on Rainbow, I would absolutely come and try it for yourself.
Oh yeah, for sure. Yeah, I would definitely tell someone to order the oxtails.
That's fire. They do not skimp. Like it be places that do oxtail, and you can tell they grab like the smallest or the lower barrel quality.
Yeah.
This is very, very much up there. from any oxtail place I went to as far as quality and size.
When did this oxtail craze take off? Because I remember oxtails, you know, now they put them in everything. They put them in burritos. They put them in.
You said Ritos?
Yeah, they done. Oxtails were not meant to be put in tacos and burritos and all that other stuff.
That's a fact. I feel like because when I was growing up, oxtail was a very, very much a delicacy. It was a scarce meat because it was so expensive. And if you did have it, you only had a few of them. I think nowadays everything is expensive. So if you gonna buy some chicken wings, you might as well go out and buy some oxtails because that's what the people want to eat right now. So I feel like that pretty much helps the decision to go and spend on expensive meat because every meat nowadays is expensive.
Got a little kick to it too.
It's a little spicy, got your nose running.
Yeah.
Do you try crazy foods? Have you tried crazy foods?
What you consider crazy?
I mean, I ate as a kid. I ate raccoon, I ate squirrel, I ate rabbit,
Yeah, you from the
ate turtle.
country. You country. No, I try anything that I always say I'll try anything once.
Right. So you would try raccoon, possum.
Yeah, I'll try it once.
Okay.
Would I like it? I don't know.
Right.
You eat but how do you eat it? You eat like coon soup?
No. You bake it. You
Like
put it
baked
in,
coon?
you put it in the oven. You cut it up, bell peppers, onions, celery. You put it in there.
Oh,
oven.
you're a different kind of country, Shannon. No, I'm not gonna lie to you and say I won't because again, I'm a foodie, so
Right.
I get very interested in stuff. I'm the type to my family be getting mad at me all the time.
Right.
I'm the type to walk into a random establishment and be like, "Oh, we was in Seattle and we walked by and we saw ducks hanging out the window.
Yeah.
We walked in, got a duck. He cut the head off right in front of us, and we went in the car and ate it. That was my first time ever doing something like that. But I'll do everything.
You like
once.
duck?
It was real good.
This is good. I mean,
Yeah, it depends on where you get it from.
Yeah.
A lot of times it can be gamey.
Yes.
It can be a little too overpowering
Yeah.
and chewy in texture.
Yes.
But the one we just had was super crispy. It was flavorful. It was fresh. It was juicy. Like I said, they took it right off the rack and cut it in front of us.
you like quail? I like quail.
I like quail.
Yeah.
Yeah, we just had a quail egg, the scotch from when we was in Seattle. It was like a scotch egg. It was wrapped and it was fried, but it was a quail egg that was wrapped in bacon and then fried again on the outside. It was good.
Yeah, but you need to eat like 7 of them to get full.
Yeah, that's a fact. They like this bitch. I eat, Shannon. Yeah, I'm an eating man.
Yeah.
For sure.
I saw where you ate the sushi worm.
I knew that was coming. So when we was in Seattle, we went to a place. It was a sushi spot.
Okay.
A bunch of people were recommended.
Okay.
It was a staple of the community, and it was out the door when we went. So we went just to show respect to the city and go to a place that was a staple.
Okay.
I did the full review, did the full video. I posted it. 2 days later, somebody tagged me in a clip of them slowing it down, and on one of the nigiris, there was what seemed to be something moving. I can't confirm or deny what it was. I'm not gonna say it's a worm, a parasite, or anything. It was something that looked like it was moving. And I ate it. I had no idea what it was. I had no idea there was anything moving until somebody tagged me in that video.
Okay.
That whole thing spiraled into something else. Allegedly, I can't confirm or deny that this is specifically from the restaurant, but somebody was hospitalized a day after we left. And again, I can't confirm or not. It was from that restaurant. And in my mind, if anybody did go to a restaurant that we did go to and they were sick in any way, I came and spoke up about it because I wanted to send my heart and my support to that person.
Right.
They say
You like
something-
sushi?
I love sushi. Yeah.
I mean, I've never
eat
had
sushi
it.
now.
I just like my food cooked. I just can't.
You don't like nothing raw? No?
I can't.
I was about to say something. I'm gonna leave it alone.
Yeah,
But
do it. Yeah. I like
so
some
again, I'm a
things raw,
foodie.
but no.
Come on, Michelle.
I know you going. See.
But yeah, no, I again, I'm a foodie. I can't have shellfish, but I explore everything else other than shellfish. So
That restaurant got closed down though, right?
allegedly, from what I hear, they did put a statement out and said that it was closed, but I believe it was closed because they are looking internally. The owners have reached out to me on a bunch of different occasions, and I get the impression that they are just fine-tuning things and getting things together, because I don't get the impression that they were malicious in any fashion or that they were neglectful. I believe it just was a
Isolated incident.
I feel like it was just an unfortunate incident that was put on the internet, and I feel like anybody could have put it on the internet and it would have blew up in the same manner. It just so happened to be that we were the ones that posted it.
Right.
But I truly believe that not only, in my opinion, I even gave the sushi that had the alleged whatever it was moving on it, I gave it like an 8.5, and that was the highest thing out of the entire thing, out of the entire what I was eating, because in my opinion, it was delicious.
Right.
I just believe that once they take a step back and really like see what it was that could have been an issue, that they'll be back better than ever. And I'm not opposed of going back and...
That's where I was going. I was going to ask you, would you be open to going back and offering another review?
Absolutely. I'm not opposed to going back if I'm welcomed. If it's not a review, if it's just having a conversation, if it's being back on opening day, and bringing my family and showing my support and showing that I mean it when I say I understand that as a business, it's a lot harder than just food itself. And I had nothing but respect and love for them and what they do. This is Badogis. These are Japanese-inspired egg drop sandwiches. So it is super thick, crispy bread that's cut down the middle and filled with sausage, cheese, egg, and this is the French toast version. So it's a little bit of icing on top, and then it's French toast bread instead of regular toast. So it's gonna be like a sweet, savory, spicy kind of ordeal. Ready? That shit crazy.
Yeah. I rock with this. I'm a breakfast person anyway, and so
This is fantastic.
the egg is real fluffy.
Come on, food critic. No, it's still my job.
You won't be disappointed. Egg is really good. Sausage is good. The bread, sweet.
Like I said, this is a French toast version. So this is if you like a sweet, savory, like dessert kind of savory spot. This is definitely that. I feel like it really encompasses all that a great breakfast is in one sandwich.
This is 9. I don't know if you're gonna eat anything else. This is a meal. I mean, no, seriously.
That's a fact.
Yeah, this is a meal. I mean,
It's very heavy.
yeah.
We about to go take a nap afterwards.
To be able to like somebody to eat this whole thing in a sitting, cause whew, I'm full. You hit it out the park on this one.
Understood. God is amazing, man.
Yeah.
I'm just thankful to be here. I feel like this is a dream of mine. This is an understatement. Of me saying that I'm thankful to be here is an understatement. Yeah, I just appreciate you and your time, man. I'm happy you even liked it.
I'm gonna say this. I'm gonna eat this tomorrow for breakfast. Keith, I went shopping yesterday for you. I know you be doing all these reviews, and sometimes the food is really, really good, and you want to take some of it home. So I went shopping for you at Amazon. I got you something.
That's fire.
Keep the leftovers.
That's fire. I appreciate you, man. Just being here with you was more than a gift.
Appreciate you.
man.
Hard times I was broke, remember saying throw 5 on 4. These days winning, only thing that I know.
All right, Shannon, this is where everything started, man. We was in here 2 years ago. We've been living here for like 3 or 4 years. This is where I had my babies at. This is where everything started for me as far as contracts for us fighting, food reviews, starting at Paw Patrol chair. Yeah, this is the Mecca for real.
This is the beginning of Keith Lee as we know it.
Absolutely, and then some.
Yeah.
The days are warmer, the walks are longer, and one easy way to help your dog shine this season is with fresh, healthy food from Farmer's Dog. Farmer's Dog makes fresh, real food and delivers it right to your door. Recipes are developed by vet nutritionists, made from real meat and veggies, and proportioned just for your dog, making it easy to say goodbye to burnt brown balls. Feed your dog real food with real benefits. My Pomeranian Teddy loved the stuff, and his coat has never looked better. It's smart, healthy pet food you can feel good about feeding your pup. And it's the best option for your dog of all life stages because it's not kibble, it's not canned goo, it's real healthy food. And it doesn't matter if your dog is young or old, it's always the right time to begin investing in their health. That means more happy, healthy full years together. Get 50% off your first box of fresh, healthy food from farmersdog.com/Shay. Plus, you get free shipping. Just go to farmersdog.com/Shay to get 50% off. That's farmersdog.com/Shay. Keith, we're back at the condo where it all started.
Absolutely.
Being back here, what kind of memories come rushing back?
Everything, man. This is insane to me. So literally we moved here in 2019 when me and my wife had no money coming in for real. When I say no money, we was trying to figure out how to even survive damn near. The rent was $1,000. We moved in, we had both our babies here. The pandemic happened here. All of the videos that you see online happened here. Me even starting on TikTok, because I always had bad social anxiety. So I never posted, man, 4 years ago, you could never get me on camera.
Right.
So like, this is where everything, me even getting comfortable to be on camera started. I don't know if you can feel it, but it's like, I'm getting goosebumps, bro.
Right.
Like, I ain't been here so long. I'm like, look, you can see that.
Yeah, so I see her standing up,
man. But yeah, this mean everything to me.
You mentioned that you started posting the TikTok videos to help with your stuttering, to help with your social anxiety, and also to help you because in MMA, you're going to have to do interviews. Absolutely. And so you could be more fluid in your conversation. How did the TikTok, what made you think, say, you know what, let me get behind the camera, let me just talk, build up some courage to do this, and then once I get in front of people, I should be able to do it?
Sitting right here doing interviews. I had like a little table, and I would sit doing MMA interviews, and I would be so bad, it would literally mess up my entire week. Like from the point where like the second I gotta think about doing the interview to 3 or 4 days before the interview to the actual interview to a week after the interview, it literally would just like ruin me. Like, I'd be sweating, I'd be nervous, I'd be clammy. So during the pandemic, we ain't really had nothing else to do. Like I said, she was pregnant. So my brother fought in Brazil, and the second he fought in Brazil, the pandemic started while I was out there.
Wow.
So she called me, and so they didn't really have the same news feed that they have out here. So when my wife called me, she like everybody taking stuff off the shelves, they panicking, they grabbing stuff, and they wearing masks. And this is when it first started. So people was wearing hazmat suits and all type. So she called me and she was panicking. And I'm like, okay, as long as I can get back, then I'll be safe. But I was worried about getting back. And so by the time I got back, I was like, whatever we need to do to get this issue like under wraps even a little bit, I'm gonna start doing. And TikTok at that point, it was either like you was made fun of for having it, or people was like, bro, you missing out, because this is where we in the house, so this is where everybody at. So I think it's one of those things where God don't make no mistakes, and my wife was telling me to do it, so I was like, I might as well try it.
Seeing where you are now, seeing where you were then, what's going through your mind?
Emotions, bro. Like, I'm trying not to cry. I ain't gonna lie to you. Yeah, it's surreal because I remember vividly having conversations about the exact moment that we in right now. Coming back and rejoicing and having like that, like, I made it moment. And the fact that it's here, I don't even think it's I think it's impossible to put into words.
Right.
I just can't wait for my kids to be able to watch this, because I got a 4-year-old and a 2-year-old, and both of them are born in this house. So I just can't wait for them to watch this and let them know their daddy made it. Yeah. You
mentioned the MMA aspect of it. So how did sports help you get over your anxiety? Because you're around people all the time. I mean, it's kind of hard to play sports and not have a conversation, not having interaction. So did it help or hurt you playing sports?
I would say it kind of hurt me because the sports that I was playing, so I wrestled all from middle school to high school to my first year in college. And even my first year in college, the only reason I didn't wrestle all the way through is because I couldn't afford it, so I got kicked out. But I feel like the reason it hurt is because wrestling and MMA guys are very awkward anyway. And a lot of them go through a lot of eating disorders. They go through a lot of anxiety, a lot of depression, but it's not a thing that's spoke of in the sport. It's not a lot of people that come in the forefront and say it, because we MMA fighters, we like the modern day gladiators. We're supposed to be the tough guys. So I think a lot of it is hidden. So for me, once I got into the real world and I got into a space where I wasn't around nothing but fighters or wrestlers, it made me feel like the outcast. I always kind of felt like the outcast, even in wrestling, but even more so when I was in normal society, because it's a different level you got to turn off when you fighting. You know,
for sure, absolutely, yeah. It's
a different level you got to turn off.
You really fighting.
You locked in. So it's something that I feel like a lot of people don't have, to be able to switch on and switch off. So for me, it was hard to switch that off once I got into like a space where people looked at me more for doing cooking videos or more for doing food critic videos, and they looked at me for fighting. Because as you know, as a professional athlete, you think that's all you're gonna do for the rest of your life.
Correct.
So it was such a drastic change for me that I feel like fighting hurt a little bit. Because again, I didn't have that social interaction with people. All the social interaction with people I had was people that got kicked in the head for a living.
Right.
So it was like, they talk different, they act different, they have a different mindset. So once I got into this space and I'm like, you don't worry about getting punched in the face.
But did it, because like as you mentioned, other fighters, they're kind of socially awkward, kind of like yourself. They have anxiety, they don't really care to be speaking on camera. Did it give you a certain level of comfort hanging around people that were kind of just like you? You guys had something in common.
Subconsciously, yeah. Because like I said, you don't really know what you don't know.
Right.
I didn't know, because I don't really consider myself socially awkward. I consider myself a person who willfully exits from conversations and exit from social interactions. So again, it's something that you don't even realize until you get around other people and you like, wait, y'all just be sitting here talking to people? Like you be mingling?
Right.
Like, I never did that. Like even networking, I don't do that.
Are you naturally an introverted person?
Absolutely, yeah, 1000%. I think a lot of it is trauma based. I had a very traumatic childhood.
Okay.
My parents did the best that they could because my mom and dad were always super involved. I've just always been kind of like a quiet, stay to myself kind of person. And then when I didn't, and I tried to step out of that and tried to be like the life of the party and like the extrovert that would go out, party, drink, smoke, I always ended up in like, I was always the one that was targeted for some reason. Like, and I genuinely believe now in retrospect, it was because God was telling me that that's not for you and you're trying to fit into something that don't belong for you. So I'm gonna make you an example and I'm gonna stick you in the forefront. And I feel like that was always the example for me.
Being socially awkward as a child, having a speech impediment, I still have a lisp. I talk with
Why you think I got a speech impediment? Where'd that come from?
It seems like you had a stuttering problem, correct?
Kind of, yeah. Okay, we can go speech impediment.
I mean, you do realize stuttering is a speech impediment.
But it wasn't necessarily stuttering. It was more or less of like trying to, I guess it's stuttering. Yeah. It's You got it.
But so, the kids make fun of you and make you go deeper into being into yourself and deeper introverted.
No, if anything, I was the bully. I ain't even gonna lie to you.
Okay.
I can cuss. Oh, I was an asshole, bro. Like, growing up as a kid, it wasn't me getting bullied. It was more the opposite because I was always real small. So when I graduated high school, I was like 4'11", maybe like 100 and...
Who you bullying at 4'11"?
Exactly. It was one of those things. I had a little man complex, like little man syndrome. So it was like the last thing you was about to do was mess with me. Again, I wrestled all through high school, so I had that edge over a lot of people. But for the most part, I always was fighting. I was always arguing. I always had a problem with authority. So for me, I never really realized that I was this introvert or this super quiet person until I got into spaces where I would be around other extroverts, or I got into spaces where, like I said, it was networking events, or like people looked at me something other than a fighter. So my older brother fought. He was in the UFC by the time I graduated high school. So I always was in his shadow.
Okay.
So for me, it was easy to be like, I'm just Kevin Lee's brother. Like, I don't really have to step out of that. So when all of this started taking off and like I was Keith Lee, that's when everything like opened up for me and I really saw like, oh, you really got an issue. Like, you really can't do interviews. You really can't talk to another human being for more than 5 minutes without you sweating bullets and like literally like want to shut off and just run in your room for the rest of the day. That didn't really start until, like I said, like 2019, 2020. But as a kid, yeah, you couldn't tell me nothing.
So how was it at family time? Because you said, I mean, did you realize that? How's your family? Are they very talkative? Does, you guys sit around the television and carry on conversation or watch a program together? So how was it growing up with your brother? And well, you said he was already in the UFC, so he's considered probably, what, 5-6 years older than you?
4 years. So I got a brother that's 4 years older than me, a brother that's 4 years younger than me, and then I got a sister that's 7 years older than me.
Okay. So how was your childhood? How was your, you and your brothers, did y'all get along? Did you fight?
No. So we definitely didn't get along.
Okay.
But for me, I feel like the black sheep, but I feel like me and my sister argue about that a lot because she feel like she was a black sheep. But so my sister, she had godparents. So growing up, she was always with her godparents. And then it was me, my older brother, my younger brother. My older brother was a very smart kid, the kid who everybody like modeled after and everybody was like praising at all times. He always had like a 4.0 grade point average. He was in sports. He was light skinned, curly hair, pretty boy.
You do light skin too.
Way lighter than me.
Okay.
Yeah. And right, typical B2K.
Okay.
Like super curly.
Yeah.
When I was younger, I was always the darkest out of everybody in my family. And I was small. the main thing about me as a kid, I always either hurt myself or I always like ended up in a situation to where I was the center of attention, but for the wrong reasons.
Self-hurt yourself or?
I was clumsy. So
Okay.
my head was the same size it is now. I was just 4'11".
What?
So it's like my neck wasn't strong enough to carry.
Right.
I got scars all back here. I got a scar on my forehead, you see here.
Yeah, I see.
I got scars all in here. When I say like that was a normal thing for us to have a family function and us to end up in the emergency room because Keith then bust his head open, had staples. That's happened to me at least, I would say 6, 7 different times, 7 different occasions. And for me, like I said, childhood wise, it was more or less of like, I was always trying to figure out where I belonged and why I belonged where I belonged. And I never could really like figure it out. So I was always longing for attention. I always had a problem with authority and I would make it known that I had a problem with authority. So I was always the one getting suspended. I was always the one getting kicked out of school. I got kicked out of 5 or 6 different schools. I got expelled. When I say kicked out, I mean expelled from the whole school district.
Damn.
So yeah, it was like that.
Did you have a problem with, parents are authoritative figures. Did you have a problem with your parents?
Absolutely. Yeah, me and my dad used to get into it all the time. To the point where I moved out when I was 16 and with my god brother. And then when I moved back in, we ended up moving here. And then when I met my wife when I was 18. I was homeless at the time. Let me tell it. I ran away from home and was sleeping in my car.
You had a place. But
yeah, I had a place. I just wasn't staying. She'd tell you, I literally was sleeping in my car, and I never told her this until maybe like last year. I was working as a lifeguard. I would drive to work, and I had like a 2000 Nissan Maximum Super Bucket. I used to drive to work in it, and then as soon as I would get off of work, I would text her and be like, "Hey, I'm on my way over to you." Little does she know, I'm already sitting in the parking lot, and I've been sleeping there for 3 days. Wow. And I'm literally like on the phone with my cousin, with my sister, and telling them like what's going on. And she think I'm getting off of work, but the whole time I've been sleeping in the parking lot. I walk upstairs, take a shower, get some food, be like, "Oh, I'm headed back to work," just because I didn't want to be embarrassed. Walk back downstairs and sleep back in my car. Wow. Yeah, so that was happening for maybe like, a month maybe? Yeah, maybe like a month. So my relationship with my parents have always been very rocky, but I take a lot of credit for it because my dad always tried the best that he possibly could. When he would come home, it would be like, either you gonna do what I say or that's it. No other ifs, ands, or buts. I grew up in an old school household. So,
yes.
It was different for me because I've always been a big communicator. So you either got to explain to me why I'm doing what I'm doing or I'm not doing it.
No. Old school don't explain nothing.
Exactly. Don't
you
explain
do it because I said.
That's a fact. I'm the king of the household, she the queen, and you listen to everything we say. Yeah. And that always was a problem for me.
Did your brother and sister have those same problems with your father, or they just like, okay?
No. It was me. Yeah, but it trickled down from me to my younger brother. So my younger brother now is in prison. And I believe a lot of it, no, it's okay. He horrible. He was bad.
Yeah. For you to say it, considering that you said you were bad, and he's bad.
It trickled down from me to him.
Okay.
But I think a lot of times it was more or less of, like I said, just a communication issue. So my sister, like I said, she was with my godparents. So by the time a lot of the traumatic stuff happened for me, she was already in Chicago where she went to school at. And then my older brother, he was already in college. Mm-hmm. So quick story. When I was in 11th grade, my brother had, like I said, he was 4 years older than me, so he had graduated already. He was in college. We were living so I'm originally from Detroit. So we were living in Detroit on 7 Mile Auto Drive. And my dad bought us a chopper bike. He bought my little brother a chopper bike. You know what a chopper bike is? Mm-hmm. It's like one of the bikes that had the real big tire on the front and then a real fat tire on the back.
Yeah.
He bought my little brother one of those, and he was riding around the neighborhood acting like he was the shit. And it was a group of kids across the street. Obviously, they ain't like it. Again, we still in the inner city of Detroit. Right. Mm-hmm. So one day they stole his bike. We end up going to get it back, and we put it back in the garage. One of the little boys from across the street came while we were asleep. It was just me, my mom, and my little brother. My dad was at work. He came in the garage while we were asleep, and I saw him. Nobody else saw him. So I walked outside and confronted him. He went to go take the bike anyway. I punched him in the face. He ran downstairs, told his brothers, told all of his cousins and whatnot. I go back in the house not thinking nothing of it. Maybe 5 minutes later, all you hear is like, it sounded like a war starting outside. All you hear is like people screaming and yelling. I go peek through the window, no exaggeration, it's probably 30 people, and they all running down the street, and they taking their shirts off. You already know what that means. They taking their shirts off, screaming.
They squabble.
It's over with. It ain't even nothing you can say at this point. Right. So they full blown coming down the street. I go to close the window, acting like if they don't see me, then they'll go the opposite direction. Before you know it, there's a brick that comes through the front window, and it shattered all the glass. We had a glass that like was in a, like, so the front door was here and then the glass was here. It literally shattered through the living room. So now it's a big brick in my living room. My mom come downstairs and she panicking. She go to open the door. They rushed the door. They completely like trying to take me outside. I end up getting jumped. They end up hitting my mama. They hit my little brother. But when this happened, of course, you know, my dad get a call. I handle my own. I like to think I still got jumped. So I go in the house, I call my dad, tell him. My brother ends up driving down because he went to school in Grand Valley, was maybe like an hour and a half. He ended up driving down. Well, I'm a kid, so I don't know how far it felt, but it felt like it was probably like an hour. But he drive back, he pull up, my dad get a gun. Long story short, he go down, do whatever he was supposed to do at the house, with according to court documents. He went down and did whatever they said he did. And the
your
next
older
morning,
brother or your dad?
My dad.
Okay.
Yeah. So the next morning, my dad's in jail. We still staying at the house. Maybe a week later, we get an eviction notice. They come. My brother went back to school by this point, so it's literally just me, my mom, my little brother. We hear my dad gone. We get an eviction notice. They come and tell us like, hey, you got 2 or 3 days to get out, and we throwing everything on the curb. My mom's best friend used to live like on the opposite side of the block, but she had a house that she had just moved out of, and it was one of those situations like how I was telling you here, how when we moved out, we just didn't tell the landlord that we moved out. So the landlord was still thinking we there, but at this point we squatting basically. So we get evicted, we move over to that house, we squatting, and it was one of the darkest times in my life. And I'm telling you, I'm at this point of like not understanding really, but like fully like, what am I doing? My mom, she has no money at this point. We eating Checkers. Shout out to Checkers, because at this point I want a sponsorship. But we eating Checkers box, and they had popcorn chicken box, and it was like popcorn chicken and fries, and you get it for like $2. And we all get one a day, and that's all we was eating. So that, again, my older brother wasn't there, my older sister wasn't there. It was just me and my younger brother that had to go through that. And it was one of those things where I feel like that really molded me as a person of who I am. So that's probably why I act the way I act a little bit. Now as an adult, I feel like I've learned from a lot of it, and being in this house is really like reminding me of why I'm exactly where I'm at and where I'm supposed to be at.
Did that experience...
Damn, bro, you about to choke me up. Come on, man.
That experience that you went through, did that have anything to you say, you know what, I'm going to the MMA. I got jumped. I'm going to be able... Because you say you handle your own, but I mean, you can only do so much when it's 10, 5, 10,
There's
15
a bunch
people.
of them.
Yeah.
Not necessarily. I feel like the main reason why I ended up fighting is because I got kicked out of school. I got kicked out of college. Well, I couldn't afford it. And they basically was like, either you give us $25,000 by tomorrow or the next day after that, or you got to leave. So I came back home to Vegas. And my brother, he saw me on the couch, and he saw I was depressed and I didn't know what I was about to do. And he was like, bro, come to the gym with me. And he took me to the gym, and I never turned back.
Wow. So what did MMA give you? What does MMA do for Keith Lee?
Hard work. It gave me a lot of like resilience. And I feel like that's exactly what I take into this profession that I'm in now. I feel like my work ethic is bar none. I honestly don't, that's why I don't compare myself to nobody, and I don't consider myself an influencer. I just consider myself Keith, and I feel like the reason I do that is because, not to sound cocky or sound like an asshole, but I'm him, Shannon. Yeah. I'm one of them, I ain't gonna lie to you. I take a lot of credit, and I give it to my wife, and I give it to my kids, and I give it to my sister, and the people in our family. We some dogs, bro. When I tell you, like, it might look like we just eating food, but even this last week, we've been in 4 different states, thugging it out the Sprinter van. And a lot of this we do with our own money, we do with our own time. And before you know it, we look up and we on food tour, and we've been outside in the Sprinter van for 9 hours a day.
Wow.
And I feel like a lot of that is attested to my MMA background. Because it's a different switch you got to turn on in order to really like lock everything out and just do what you feel like you called to do. And that's what I feel like I take into food and anything else.
You had an 8-5 record in MMA. You won 3 by knockout, 1 by submission, and 4 by decision. What's the hardest part about MMA? I mean, look, there is everything. I mean, the back fist and kick you and hit you, elbow you and choke you out. Man.
Absolutely.
Because really, people ain't really trying to go to the cards.
No.
If you try to be in the UFC, Dana won't action.
That's a fact. Yeah,
he won't action. So you go get a couple of decisions, Dana go like, nah, you're not for the UFC. So what is the hardest part about MMA?
I can't speak for nobody else, but I feel like the reason why my record looked the way it did is because I had a brother that was already in it. So I didn't have a slow roll. If you go back and watch and see who I fought, I was jumping into the deep end immediately. Like my first 3 fights was in Canada. Right. Most people don't fight internationally until they get to their 10th, 15th pro fight. I was outside immediately. Right. So the hardest part for me was fighting guys that were out of my experience level, and not really having anybody to be like, relax, bro. Like, you ain't got to rush it. I was 18 fighting guys that had kids and wives and real life struggles. Right. So for me, I feel like that was the hardest part. But physically, the hardest part, I feel like if you were to beat me, it was pressure. It was guys that was coming forward nonstop, had nothing to lose, was willing to get knocked out. I always was a person who valued my footwork. Right. So I'm moving. Right. I don't want to get hit. Right. I don't like getting punched. I got a pretty face, Shannon. I want to keep this. It was guys who didn't care, bro. Yeah, it was guys who didn't give a damn. But yeah, once I didn't even really officially retire. My wife wanted me to officially retire, but everything kind of just took off in like the end of 2022. And in like December, I fought in September 2022. So right after that last fight, everything kind of took off. Right. But I feel like, the hardest part was just like, and it's relinquishing. It's like you have no control over what's about to happen. You just got to let it happen. And that's the hardest part for me. It's like just getting into that mindset of like, God, I trust you, and I know whatever is about to happen is about to happen, and it ain't nothing that I'm about to do. I can train for 8 weeks straight, the hardest training camp, be the most prepared, train with the world champions, train with everybody who they claim is the best. You go out there and get finished in 20 seconds. So it ain't really nothing you can do about it other than just let it be what it is.
You said you had a wrestling background, so clearly you're good at grappling. You try to take people down, get them off their feet. You didn't want to, like you said, you didn't want to get punched in the face. So the best way not to get punched in the face is get them on the mat and do what you need to do.
For sure.
So that was what you tried to do?
I was a hybrid, so I mixed it up really well, in my opinion. I came in an era where people was doing everything. So there was no more just grapplers or just strikers. There's very rare cases of it, and like somebody like Khabib, where he's a straight grappler. I came in like on the tail end of that. So like I said, I turned professional when I was in 2015 when I was 18, or 2014. So that was when literally you had to do everything. People on a grassroots level or like the amateur ranks, they was literally like switching stances already, stuff that most people don't do until, like I said, 20, 25 pro fights. They was fighting at 19, 18, grappling, striking. So I like to consider myself part of that generation.
What does it feel like to knock someone out, and what does it feel like to get knocked out?
So I've never been knocked out. I've been finished once in my entire career, and that was me being choked out.
Rear naked triangle?
Rear naked.
Okay.
So that was probably, and I feel like I love that you even brought that up. That fight right there was literally what made my life begin to where it's at right now. So I was in his house when it happened too, by the way. That's crazy. I was here when it happened. So I just had a contract with Bellator, which is the second biggest promotion in the world when it comes to MMA. I was 2-1 in the promotion. I had just beat they number 7th ranked guy and they number 8th ranked guy. And I had just lost to the number 1 ranked guy. So I'm thinking in my head, like, oh, it's just a bounce back fight. I'm fighting this guy that's like 7-0. I'm like, oh, this is gonna put me right back into top contention. Because they had a tournament coming up at 135 to where the top 8 guys fought for $1 million. So the winner between me and the guy I fought that was 7-0 went into the tournament. Okay. So I'm thinking, like, mind you, I just fought number 7, number 8. This guy was, I think he was ranked number 12th at the time. I'm real cocky, Shannon. I'm like, oh, it's over with. Like, I'm already coming home and I'm telling her, like, what spot in the tournament I want. And man, what? I'm telling her what spot of the tournament I got. I'm telling her exactly what we about to do with the money. I'm taking the camp serious, but I'm going into it with that mindset of like, oh, it's over with. I get smoked. I'm talking about whooped on. First time in my entire career. So at 8-5, I only had my 4 losses were by split decision. Okay. And split decisions to where like it could literally go like this, like razor thin. That was the only time where I got shut out and I got finished in the first round. He was, when I say jab, everything was landed. I was looking up like, how many people in here? I'm looking at his coaches like, how you gonna let him jump over the top and come punch me in the face? It's bad, bro. I look up, before you know it, he got my back, and it's maybe like 10 seconds left of the clock. And I could hear, so they do a smacker for the last 10 seconds. So I could hear the 10-second smacker, and you can see on my face in the video that I'm still there. He got the choke, but I'm like, I'm all right. I'm still scrambling. Before you know it, I go to lift up, I get up, and I run to the cage. I don't know. I've been out for like 3 seconds.
Wow.
And he looking at me out. You can go watch the video. I'm completely bloodied up. In my head, I didn't go out at all. In my head, I'm like, oh, this choke not even in. Oh, let me get up. Oh, I hear that the time is over. Let me get up and run to my corner. Little do you know, I'm out. I wake up, my head snap back. I stand up and I stumble all the way over to the corner. And the ref, he picked me up and he like, it's over with. You can see in the video, I'm like, why? What happened? I was out, gone. It felt like a movie. Like, it felt like, it's such a weird feeling because you still hear everything, you still feel everything. Like, you feel like you watching somebody else. Yeah. Like, I felt like I was standing over myself and being like, oh, the choke not even in. Right. But the whole time, I'm like, gone. So for me, that felt like I said, it felt like a movie, but putting somebody else to sleep, that's one of the most amazing feelings. That's why I say it's a switch. You got to be a little crazy. Right. You got to be a little off to say it feel good to put somebody to sleep. Right. But when you in the heat of the moment, I feel like it's one of those like vindicating moments, because the second, for anybody who's never fought before, the second that you know you won, everything so it's usually like an 8-week process that goes into fighting. And that's from cutting weight, that's from eating right, that's from making sure that you running in the morning. Yeah,
no sex, none of that.
None of that. I'm talking about like full-blown militant. Right. So the second that the fight is over, it could be from you finishing, putting a guy to sleep, everything comes crashing and you just feel like, oh, I can breathe now. Right. Like, so it's literally like when people say like it's a monkey on your back, that's no joke. Like, winning like the Super Bowl, that's exactly what it feels like every fight. It's like somebody lifting somebody off your shoulders. Right. So it's like literally the second the fight is over, you just go, oh.
And then it shows that all that hard work, all that 8 weeks,
all of it
paid off.
Absolutely, absolutely. It's one of the best feelings in the world.
What about a return? Are you interested in returning to the octagon?
It got to be a lot of money involved, Shannon. A lot of money. I got kids, man. And the main reason I even stopped training, like I said, there was never an official retirement. The main reason I even stopped is because you either got to do it or you're not going to do it at all.
Oh, yeah, it's all in.
It ain't no plan. It ain't no like, oh, I'm about to go on a food tour. I'm about to go drive around the city and I'm about to go eat and then I'm going to train. Ain't none of that. No. I trained with one of the best guys in the world. His name is Dewey Cooper. He trained Francis Ngannou. He's got like 4 or 5 different championships in the UFC alone. He a bad man. So playing with him, it wasn't no like, oh, I'm about to come in, I'm a celebrity. Ain't none of that, man. Go get on the bag. Right. So for me, it was either you gonna do it or you're not gonna do it at all. So that's probably the main decision. When I come back, I'm looking at my wife right now, and that's like, a no.
Yeah, she's over there.
It's over with. Yeah, for sure.
So have you ever met Dana?
I've met him like in passing. Right. Cause like so my brother fought for 10 years. But I never had like a full-blown conversation.
So do you still train? Like,
no, sir. You see me in this chair? I'm spread it out in this chair.
So there's, I mean, do you still work out?
Yeah, I play basketball. Right. Yeah.
So that's it. No training, no mat, no glove work, no.
I'm blessed enough to say I got a lot of contracts right now, and all of those contracts says that I can't have any blemishes on my face. Right. So if I go train, from just scar tissue from doing it for so long, my face is automatically either gonna swell up or it's gonna open up or it's gonna get cut real easy. And that mess up the money. I can't mess up the money.
Don't mess up the money.
Yeah.
We just saw the fight this weekend. John Jones took out Stipe. Now he's the heavyweight champ. He also took the belt from Cyril Gane.
I hate that whole conversation. We can talk about it. I hate that.
So you hate the conversation of GOAT?
I hate the conversation of him ducking from Tom.
Oh, no, I
hate it, bro. Now we talking, because I like to consider myself an MMA, what's the nerd, geek? Aficionado, all of that.
Okay, tell us about what you think about Bones.
I don't even think it's a conversation or it's a question that he's the best that we've ever seen do it, by far. I hate the conversation of like he ducking Tom. we did this maybe like a year ago with Sergey Pavlovich. That's how you say his last name. Excuse me if I pronounce it wrong. But when he was coming through the ranks and he was killing people, everybody was like, oh, he got to fight Jones, and Jones scared of him. And then he got finished by Tom, and don't nobody talk about him no more.
Right.
It's like, don't nobody pay him no attention. But it's like, it's very annoying to see somebody, especially somebody that look like us, be in a space where it's like, every single time you do something, it's something else that got to be done in order for you to submit your legacy. It's like, he been doing this since I was a kid.
Yes.
He been doing it.
Well, he's been the champ since 2011.
That's insane. Yeah, that's insane. And he hasn't lost to anybody.
No.
If he was anybody else,
right,
it wouldn't even be a question.
Right.
It wouldn't even be a conversation, because when Khabib beat that was Gaethje, his last fight. When Khabib beat Gaethje, there wasn't a question of, oh, he got to come back and he got to fight Ilya to submit his legacy, or he got to come back, he got to fight Volk to submit his legacy, or he got to come back, he got to fight Holloway. It wasn't none of that. It wasn't even there's no conversation as we speak revolving around his legacy, his greatness. But with Jones, he got to beat everybody and their mama in order to get any kind of recognition.
And then when he beats Aspinall, they're gonna come up with
Aspinall.
They will come up with somebody else, but he's got to wait till
it's
he's
always
40.
Gonna be something else. Yeah, it's always gonna be something else. And even if he don't beat Aspinall, because it's the fight world, anything can happen. I don't think that takes away from the greatness that is Jon Jones, and that always will be Jon Jones.
To have that type of reign for a decade and a half,
I don't think Tom doing that. I ain't gonna lie. He might. Again, everything happens the way it's supposed to, but I feel like it's a little too late, because again, Tom is 27?
31, I think. I think he's 7 years younger than Jones.
I think the conversation's over with that.
Yeah,
alone.
Yeah.
Alone, even just his age.
Are you a boxing fan?
Every now and again, I watch. Yeah, I predicted Tank and Garcia in front of Tank. Literally the punch, the round, and exactly how it's about to go.
Right.
Because again, I'm him, Shannon.
So who do you want to see? Who do you want to see Tank fight? People say they want to see a rematch. They want to see Tank fight Shakur. They want to see him fight Boots. So who would you like to see Tank fight?
That's a great question. I feel like there's so many options, but at the same time, I think a lot of people feel like he hasn't been tested yet, because we are in this era of protect the O. But just from seeing him up close and watching him, so I trained at Mayweather's for years. So just seeing him up close, I feel like I'm about to sound like a tape recorder with anybody that's in his camp. Tank him, bro. Take one of them. So I don't care who he fight. I feel like he is our generation's best. And I feel like at the end of the day, when the smoke is clear, he gonna come out of like really being one of them.
Where are you on this celebrity boxing? We just saw Jake Paul fight Tyson. We saw McGregor.
I hated that fight. I hated everything about that.
What did you hate about it? Do you think it was staged? Do you think what happened?
First, to the lead up, I told my wife that I can't be there because I was gonna jump in the ring. I was wanting. It's Tyson, bro.
Right.
He's a legend of the sport. He's a legend of our community. He is somebody who should be held to the highest regard. I don't like that there was like this conversation of like competitiveness. He's 60, bro. Like if we bring up any legend of any other race or demographic, there's no way that you touching one of their legends. But we allow our legends to get in there and
he allowed that
mockery. I agree with you. But us as fans still was having conversations around the fight itself, like it was about to be a competitive or back and forth fight.
I mean, Keith, if what they're saying is true, the man made 20 mil. I mean, can you?
I hear you. But is it?
And his money jumped for it. Now you got to realize, here's a guy that's made what, $500, $600, $700 million, and I'm not so sure he has half of that. I'm not so sure he has a third of that.
I hear you.
And so $20 million at the age of 58, 59.
But you Mike Tyson, the money gonna come and go, right?
Yeah.
He's had way more than 20 million before.
For sure.
So in my mind is, I know I watch Tyson very religiously, and I know he don't believe in legacy. But for me, it's not necessarily him. It's the kids that's below him. It's my kids. It's me. It's somebody who's watched him literally from the beginning. So to stand on integrity, this is one thing that I always preach to my kids. To stand on something that would last forever and that you can pass on to another generation. And that's as far as integrity, and that's as far as something a code that you stand behind. To stand on that is way more valuable than any amount of money. Yeah, for me.
So would you do a celebrity boxing match?
Maybe. Maybe.
See?
Maybe. But for
You
me,
say the money have to be right. So they got
wouldn't be
$5
the-
million.
For me, so money-wise, it would specifically be professional fighting. That's where I say the money got to be right. Because, again, my life is in...
Yeah. No, this is celebrity.
But celebrity, the money don't necessarily got to be right. It got to be the right... One, it got to be the right fight. For me, I wouldn't fight necessarily a celebrity because I feel like it would erase what I've done for 10 years in MMA space.
Gotcha.
It would really just be to go out there and have fun, but still be competitive. So it would have to be that middle ground of being competitive and still not getting cussed out by my wife because I'm getting cut and stuff.
What, is there any way we could do a celebrity MMA fight?
Maybe we can be the first of the kind. who you want to see me fight, Shannon?
I don't know who. You say you weighed you fought at 135. So
I'm not that at all right now.
155?
I'm a big boy. No, I'm solid. I'm
160. You're not more than 160 though.
way more than 160.
No, come on, Key.
Way more.
Come on, Key.
I'm solid, bro. I'm built like a brick house.
Okay, 163. 163.
No, not even close.
What you trying to say? You're not 190, Key.
I'm like 180, 183. Solid.
I'm thinking 60, 80.
Feel that, Shannon. Solid.
Yeah, like 170. Give 170, Jordan. Give 170.
So one thing I know when you kept asking Shannon who would he want to see you fight, if he threw out Jake Paul, what would be your response?
Make that money, man.
Yeah.
You want to throw that out there?
You don't make that money, man.
We want Chad. We want Ocho Cinco.
You want Ocho Cinco?
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Go ahead, Stevie. Come on, Stevie.
Jake Paul?
Yeah.
Did you say, you know what?
Yeah. Come on,
We
Stevie.
want Ocho.
Okay.
Yeah, come on, Stevie.
You don't get
I didn't even, go ahead. Talk that talk.
Let me do it like this. Last year, my co-host, we were talking about you was critiquing a restaurant, and Ocho said something. You responded, and we were talking earlier about a celebrity boxing match. We asked, would you fight Jake Paul? And you said you would like a celebrity boxing match.
If I'm gonna do anybody, let's go Chad. Come on, Ocho.
Ocho!
Come on, Ocho. Ocho was talking hot. He was talking crazy. Ocho was talking on a different level. But we've had a conversation since.
Oh, you talked to Ocho?
I talked to Ocho. Again, I come from a place of love, man. I come from a place of transparency. We had a conversation. Chad didn't mean no harm. But if you want to put the gloves on, we can put the gloves on. I ain't gonna lie. I'll whoop Chad ass. I take Ocho down through there. And again, that's coming from a place of love. I'll take Ocho down through there.
Oh, he said you got the size on you.
I'll take Ocho down through there. All right. And I feel like we'd sell out a big one for that.
Ocho,
Down through
we
there.
can make this happen.
Ocho what? He 190?
Yeah.
185?
Yeah,
190?
185, 190.
How tall is he? 6'1"? 6?
Yeah, he about 6'1", 6.5.
You got to be 2-something to do something around here.
What?
Yeah, you got it. I ain't gonna lie. Non-professional, it's different because again, I was fighting at one of the highest levels that you can fight at. But non-professional, anything under 200 can't do nothing with me.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Ocho, now you say you want that smoke. You've been calling out Andre Ward and all these. Keith Lee said he got the hand for you. He said he updated too.
It'd be crazy too.
And registered in 10 different states.
And we gonna hug each other and pray afterwards. God, it's amazing. So,
You mentioned you were in Bellator. When they didn't renew you or they released you, what was going through your mind then?
oh, my life was over with in my mind. I came back in this very house and had when I say no idea, my wife was pregnant with our second child. I had a 2-year-old. The rent here was $1,000. I had no idea how I was about to pay that. I literally vividly remember sitting in this very chair, in this very spot. I swear to you, I went to it. This is when food reviews actually started for me. Because before then, I was just cooking in this kitchen, and I would cook 4 times a day for her when she was pregnant, and I would just record myself every time I was cooking. And after that fight, I was curled up in a ball in that bed. Goddamn, I'm about to cry. I was curled up in a ball, and I remember her coming over the top of me and being like, everything is gonna be okay. It was so hard for me to see because I'm staring at my 2-year-old, I'm staring at her belly. I had no sense of what's about to happen. I thought that food reviews could do something, or I wouldn't even say, I'm lying to myself. I had no idea what food reviews were gonna do.
You definitely didn't think it would take off like this.
Never in a million years. I just vividly remember having a conversation with her and she telling me I was gonna be okay and she was rubbing my back. I stood up and I was like, I'm about to make something happen. I'm about to go do something. I don't know what it is, but whatever is calling me, whatever that voice is telling me to do, I'm about to do it. And I've listened to it before, and I'm in a position where I'm losing contracts. And when I say lost a contract, Shannon, that contract was worth, I think I had like $100,000 up on the contract. That's money.
Yeah.
I'm like, oh, bro, what? I was like, just, all right, I ain't got to fight. Just give me $100,000.
Right.
In my mind. But like I said, God willingly, maybe 6 months after all of that happened, and like I said, I was sitting in the shower, started doing food reviews, Wingstop reached out to me, and they gave me a contract that was worth the exact same amount that contract was worth for Bellator.
Wow. You had jobs, you did a delivery for Postmates, DoorDash. Were you a good delivery guy? You get good tips? You ain't biting off them people food, is it?
No.
Man, you just eating them people in.
No. My little brother was. That was my little brother. That's why I said he in prison. But no, for me, I feel like I was, but I had so much going on at the time. I was sharing a car with my wife. So my daily schedule was I would wake up, I would go drop her off in the morning. She had to be at work at 9 o'clock? She had to be at work at 9. I would drop her off. I would go do 3 or 4 deliveries that took maybe like an hour. I would go straight to the gym after that. I would train for maybe 2 hours, leave the gym. I'm talking about sweating, smelling like everything.
Smelling like get back home.
All of that. Get in the car, go do more deliveries. That's why I say I can't really say I'm a good delivery driver, because if a delivery driver pull up and he smell like how I used to smell, he probably not getting the tip.
Yeah, I don't even want the food now.
But I was grinding, bro. I literally would leave there, do 4 or 5 deliveries, go to the next gym session. After that, do 2 or 3, go pick her up from work, take her with me to do a few more to get money for dinner. And then after dinner, I would like try and recover the best I could and do it again tomorrow. So was I a good delivery driver? I was a delivery driver that did what he had to do.
Right.
Yeah.
Did you get good tips?
Maybe a little bit, but
So you mentioned that when things were transpiring, you would cook. You were cooking for your wife. Are you a good cook?
I throw down, Shannon.
How did you learn from watching your mom? How did you learn how to cook, or was it out of necessity?
I've always been a study of the game.
Okay.
So I've always been a professional in the sense of no matter what I do, I take it extremely serious.
Okay.
So when I was cutting weight, you can ask my coach this. When I was cutting weight, I would be watching the Food Network, and that's me not eating no like solid meals for 2 or 3 days, and me watching people cook, and me watching people make like desserts and full blown like food porn damn near. And he'd be like, how are you watching this? Like, you're not even eating food. My stomach caved in. I'm sitting on the floor and like wrapped up like a mummy because I'm trying to sweat.
Right.
And I'm full blown. In my mind, I'm not realizing I'm studying. But now, in retrospect, I'm studying for what God had in store for me. But yeah, I was full blown like watching Food Network all day, every day. A lot of people that I used to watch on YouTube was like People versus Food. I used to watch Cocoa Butter, which is like a YouTube channel of like us trying different cuisines that we never tried before. Guy Fieri, of course, Gordon Ramsay.
Bobby Flay, you like Bobby Flay?
Bobby Flay. Like, I was a huge studier when it comes to that. That's pretty much how I taught myself how to cook, is just watching other people and watching other videos and tutorials and just coming here and experiencing and like experimenting with stuff.
So that's what you do. You watch them do it, like, okay.
I can do that.
Yeah.
Again, I've always been cocky in a sense as a kid, so I was like, why can't I make a beef Wellington? It's a video right now of me in that kitchen making a beef Wellington, and it was horrible. But I tried. Yeah. I was so cocky. That was one of the hardest dishes to make in literally in the culinary field.
Right.
And I was what, like 22? I was like, why not? I had like a little burnt pan. I had some puff pastry. I'm cutting mushrooms like I'm really doing something. Full blown. The pastry dough was this thick. It was raw in the middle. The steak was overcooked. I cut the puff pastry out and ate the steak anyway.
Were you a foodie when you were growing up? Did you critique your mom, your grandmother's cooking? And you're like, Mom, this was good. But Mom, I don't know about this one, Mom.
I've been this way my whole life, Shannon. They used to get so mad at me. Even Thanksgiving, I used to full blown be like, in my opinion, this is like a, full blown. Yeah.
They didn't take kindly to that.
Yes and no.
Right.
So like my dad was always the one who cooked. My dad was a very meat eater.
Oh, okay.
So he used to cook steaks. I'm talking about full blown. Like, we used to walk in the house. My wife used to hate it at first because she come from a house where they make full meals. My dad just made meat. So you had 10
Ain't got no
different steaks,
veggies,
no veggies, no nothing. You might have a little piece of asparagus like this big, but it's really just steak. And I'm talking about on a cutting board, just laid out.
Right.
So that's the kind of house that I grew up in.
Right. So what made you change from cooking videos to doing reviews? When did that switch go off to say, you know what, the cooking videos okay, but let me review food that's already been cooked?
Before we continue, I just want to say you are amazing at what you do. It's different seeing it in person and seeing how you handle the conversation and take it to different spots that I already was thinking in my mind. No, this about to be crazy. But what was the question, my man?
How did you determine to stop doing? You was doing cooking videos on YouTube, and then you said, you know what? Switch goes off. You're like, okay, let me do reviews and start placing those on TikTok.
It was right after that last fight. Like I said, I was having conversations and I didn't know what I was about to do, and I just started listening to that inner voice, and I literally was just doing whatever felt right at the time. So we in this kitchen, we standing in there, and at this point I was making cooking videos, but I also was like dabbling with food reviews. And People vs. Food, who I just said I used to watch a lot, I made a video saying I used to watch them, and they reached out and was like, we would love to have you on the show. And back then, that's the equivalent of Shannon Sharp calling me and like, we want to sit down and do an interview at the house that you grew up in. So I'm freaking out and I'm like panicking and I'm like, what I'm about to do? But again, I'm at the point of trusting God and trusting the plan that he put in for me. So I'm like, at this point, I'm in my mind, I'm like, what they want to talk to me for, like what they want to bring me on there for.
Right.
But I'm just trusting God and I'm letting it happen the way it's supposed to. And I'm standing in the kitchen, my wife comes over and she says, okay, if you about to go on People vs. Food, what are you gonna post on your page that's gonna make people come and actually follow you and not just come and look at your page and keep scrolling? And I was like, I already do food reviews every now and again. What if I just post one food review a day until I get on the show? This was in November of 2022. And my sister, she's always been a battery pack in my back. She's living with us at the time, and she living on the couch right here. Yeah. And she like, yeah, why don't you? And I'm like, okay, let me just try it, right? Mm-hmm. I start posting once a day in November. By December, so I started at 1.4 million followers. By December, I had like 7 million followers. Wow. I had like 7 million. That's when the Wingstop deal came in. That's where the money started rolling in a little bit. And it just was like, what's happening?
Right.
Like I vividly remember being in here and like, what is going on? I got a call from Kevin Hart while I'm sitting right here in the same spot. And he like, yeah, I want you to come try my restaurant. And I'm like, what are you doing?
Right.
Kevin, I had the video on my phone of me looking at him like, what are you talking about? Why would I come try food for you? And he like, bro, you the biggest thing, you this, that, and the third. I don't see myself how other people see me. And I think that stems from my anxiety. So I see myself as a normal person and genuinely to my core, I'm just Keith. So when things like that happen, it's like, you lying. Like, stop lying.
Right. Do you shoot and edit all your own videos?
Everything. So I shoot on my phone. I literally take my phone and I sit on the steering wheel and I record. I sit with my family, we eat food. The second the camera go off, I go to the back of the Sprinter, I edit the videos, I post it, and then we go about our day.
But when
that just messed you up, huh?
Yeah. So you never really have any interaction with the people that actually own the restaurant. You go in there, buy food just like a normal person. You're in your Sprinter, you eat. Obviously you're not eating that much. That's the thing, because I
would be huge if I ate everything. Yeah. But so I'll give you the full rundown of how it works. So when we go to a restaurant, it's specifically either based off a recommendation or it's based off the restaurant itself reaching out. So that way, nobody can say I was picking on them and I just randomly went to a restaurant and gave my unsolicited opinion. The opinion is always asked for. So once we go to the restaurant, I'll have my sister or I have somebody that nobody's ever seen me with in my family go and order the food.
They might be knowing your sister now. You might have to go disguise.
It depends on where we at. So if it's a spot where, because the threshold is 100 to 150 recommendations and like I said, somebody reaching out. So if it's a place where it's like barely over the threshold, it's like 100 recommendations, then I'll send my sister in because a lot of the times those people have no idea, right? Okay. But if it's a place where we got 2,500 recommendations, or we got 3,000 recommendations, or the restaurant owner and his mama and his grandmama and his cousin that reached out, then that's when I send a family member that nobody's ever seen me with.
Okay.
So it's levels of like ninja that we
Right.
call it. It's like levels of like incognito. So if it's at the highest level, it's somebody that you literally never seen me with, somebody that don't even look like they're related to us, that you would never, and we even get like, we get real creative. Like they go to DD's and grab like random shopping bags just so they can look like they've been shopping in the neighborhood. They throwing full disguises. So it's a full blown like mission basically. So they go in, they get the food, they record the experience. When they come back in the car, they give us all of the information of how the customer service was, how fast it took, how many people was in there. They get videos of the inside and everything. I do the review, full blown, unbiased, just giving my personal opinion. The second that the video turns off, if it's an 8 or higher of like the overall rating for the car, because I ask everybody, like, how did y'all think about it, the experience, the food? If it's over 8, we go in and we have a conversation with the owner. And a lot of times, if I feel like it's over 8, we blessed enough to where we'll have people jump on a plane and literally try to place the same day. So I, as again, with a great power comes great responsibility. So I feel like it's in our duty to go in and have a conversation with the owner and tell them like, hey, there's no promises, but it might get crazy in here.
Right.
And a lot of times that's why we leave really large tips so they can afford to go grab the food that they need for the next day. Because a lot of these places, they are either like behind on rent or they just like struggling to make ends meet. So it's like they can't afford for the surge. Like they can't afford to keep up with the demand because a lot of times they have to hire people that same day, or they got to call their cousins and be like, hey, we need 10 of y'all to come and help us for tomorrow. So we pay up for that. So we pay for the food, the help that you may need, and everything that comes involved in that. So that's when we talk to the owners.
Do you remember the first video you uploaded that went viral?
Food review? Mr. Gary. It was a food truck that was around the corner from here. So I used to ride my bike just to stay in shape. And the strip is maybe like 10 minutes from here, but it's a straight shot up Flamingo. So I used to come out here, I used to ride my bike, and I was ride real late, so maybe like 11 o'clock. So this is maybe 2 weeks into, remember I told you I was posting every day.
Yeah.
This is maybe 2 weeks into that. And I was riding my bike back from the strip. This was maybe at like 12 o'clock at night. It was real late. And I'm driving past a random street that like literally nobody usually walks on, because I don't know if you know, we in the hood, Shannon.
No, for sure.
Okay.
Yeah, I know.
Okay. At 12 o'clock, it don't be nobody down the street normally. So I'm driving down the street and it's a random like LED lit box. And I can't tell what it is. And I'm like, why is there, again, we in a hood. I'm like, why is there lights in the middle of the street? So I turn my bike around, I ride down, and lo and behold, it's a food truck. I walk up to it. I asked the man like, hey, can I try some food? And he like, yeah, we sell, it was called Mr. Gary's, I think it was like lobster and something, Mr. Gary's seafood. So I'm allergic to shellfish, but he had lobster, shrimp, he had crab, he had everything, but he also had a burger. So I was like, can I try the burger? And he was like, I'm gonna be honest with you, everything is cooked on the same grill. So I was like, okay, never mind. And I went to leave, and he was like, wait. I'm gonna clean the grill off, come back tomorrow. I'll literally disinfect everything, I'll clean everything, I'll break everything down. Mind you, he has no idea who I am.
Right.
And in my mind, I'm like, why would he do all of this for a stranger or just a regular customer?
And do all that for a burger?
For a burger. The burger was
Go down the street, they got burgers. They ain't got to clean the grill.
$8. It's 12 o'clock at night. He like, bro, I'm about to leave for the night, but come back in the morning. I'm gonna come here early just for you specifically, and I'm gonna clean everything. So in my mind, I'm like, why is this place slow? Why is this not a loyal fan base that's coming here and supporting this man that's really like putting his whole into this restaurant?
Yes.
So I go back the next morning. Again, he still has no idea who I am. Go back the next morning. I try the burger. The burger is amazing. I make a video to that effect and say, hey, in my opinion, this burger is great. I tell the whole story. The video gets like 20 million, I would say like in the first 12 hours, or like 15 to 20 million. He calls me and he panicking. He in a full blown like sweat. He run around the house. I'm like, what's going on? He like, people got my phone number. Why do people have my phone number? Lo and behold, I recorded the outside of the truck and it had his phone number across the top, and that was connected to his Cash App. People sent him $40,000 in less than 12 hours. And he had no idea what to do. he was calling me. He like, do I pay these people their money back? He's like, do I go send these people food? Like, what do I do with this money? And I'm sitting there, again, all of this is taking off for the first time. And I'm like, I don't know either, Mr. Gary. I'm like, all of this is just to do to me. But it was like that reassurance or that knowingness of like, knowing I had a community behind me that was willing and more than willing to go out and support these restaurants. And I told him that day, good people want to see good people win. And people literally was like flocking to his restaurant. And before you know it, the news was there. The video had over like 30 million, 40 million views. And he had raised over, I think, like $60,000.
Wow.
Yeah.
Why do you think people connect with your videos?
I don't know, Shannon. I ain't gonna lie to you. It baffles me every day. I think for me is because I pray a lot. Again, I don't see myself how other people see me. So it makes me question internally. But I always fall back to the fact that I feel like I'm supposed to be here and God put me here for a reason. And I think a lot of it, giving myself a little credit, is that I really take this serious. Like, I don't play around. I know these are people's lives that are being affected. Whether that be deemed good or bad. I know there's a lot of power that's been bestowed on me right now and bestowed on my family. We have no idea how long this is gonna last. We don't know if we're gonna be here tomorrow. We don't know if we're gonna be here in 3 years. I just know as long as I can stay myself and I can be me, I'm gonna be everywhere I'm supposed to be. So I feel like that's why people connect. If that's why y'all connect, I don't know why y'all connect me. I'm thankful for it though.
The foods that you critique, are they all foods that you've had before and you're basing it on a previous test? Or you're like, man, no, I just like this. I've never had this dish before, but I really, really like it.
That's a great question. I like to think I step outside of the box a lot. But again, we go on recommendations and a lot of my audience look like me.
Okay.
Now we're being blessed enough to where we stepping outside of that and we really hitting like a worldwide audience. But for a long time, it was just us. So the recommendations I would get would be from restaurants that were specifically for us.
Mac and cheese, collard greens,
exactly.
ribs,
Yeah.
oxtails,
Stuff that we grew up eating.
Yes.
But now, like I said, I like to think that we step outside the box. And again, I'm a true foodie. So even if I'm not recording, when we go into cities, I'm trying stuff that I've never tried before. I'm the type to literally book a flight to somewhere, get off the plane and just walk to the nearest restaurant and just try it and have no idea what I'm eating. When we was in Japan, we was in Japan for a week straight. And when I say I ate everything under the sun, stuff I didn't even know how to pronounce, I'm talking about we walking into random buildings, eating everything that people was recommending. I think that's just the foodie in me. But for the most part, it, like I said, it's coming from recommendations. So it can sometimes be like monotonous, but it's deeper than the food for me, Shannon. It's like I said, it's the people behind the restaurants. It's people that look like us.
Right. And a lot of times they got a story to tell, don't they?
It literally,
how they
like,
started and
they got kids they feeding off of this. Like they kids that they feeding off of this. I'm blessed enough to say that in the past year alone, we've been a part of changing 150 families' lives that look like us.
Wow. Wow. You grade on a scale of 1 to 10. How do you come to have you ever given a 10?
A few, I would say maybe 15, maybe max. We've been to over 300, 400 restaurants. I would say maybe 20 max.
How does someone get a 10? What did it have to be? Obviously, you want the customer service, you want the food hot, but what's the A, B, C, D, E that gets to that 10?
So I don't really do interviews, as you can tell. So I'm giving you stuff that I don't never give to nobody.
Good. I like that. We like that.
So I'm gonna just give you my full scale. For me, anywhere from a 1 to a 4 is something that I wouldn't eat again.
You wouldn't eat again, or
wouldn't?
You wouldn't.
Okay. 1 to a 3, I wouldn't eat again.
Okay.
4 is like I can see there's things that I personally would change, but if I needed to eat it, I would eat it.
Okay.
5 is right in the middle. 5 is like, it's not bad, but it's not good. 6 is like, okay, we fix a few things. This can be really, really good. 7 is like, this isn't the worst thing I had, but again, you fix maybe 2 or 3 items or 2 or 3 ingredients in a dish, and we talking about something superior. 8 is like, even if I'm not recording, I'll eat this.
Okay.
I probably wouldn't eat the whole thing, but I'll eat it if I'm coming back to the city. 9 is like, I'm about to finish this, and whoever wants some, y'all better hurry up and get it because it's about to be gone.
Okay.
10 is nothing that I personally can think of can be changed about this dish to make it better. It ain't a piece of salt that can be added. It ain't no level of sweetness, no level of savoriness. It's nothing in this dish, no added ingredient that I can think of that can make this any better. So that's why I give it a 10. Because in my mind, that's a perfect dish.
Have you ever made recommendations like, man, you need to add a little bit more of this, a little bit more of that? Do they take do people take your advice?
I would like to think so. So we went to a place in New Orleans and it was called, what was the name of it? You know what I'm talking about? It was called something. It was like a Sweet Bayou or Bayou effect or something like that. And it was supposed to be Mexican-inspired tacos and Mexican-inspired food. It was black people food.
Yeah.
Full blown. And I went in, I had a conversation with them, and I was like, let's just call it black people food.
Right.
Like, when I say it was, so they had nachos. The nachos
with oxtail over the top.
The nachos was like ground beef. It was ground beef, nacho cheese. It was like, I think was they using Doritos? They was using some kind of like bag Dorito shit.
Right.
That ain't Mexican, that's us.
Yes, yes.
And I felt like once you identify your demographic and identify your target audience and you make it known exactly who you making food for, it makes it easier for people in the audience, in the area to be like, oh, I eat that kind of food. Oh, I want to try that.
Right.
So after we had the conversation, they changed a lot of the menu items to reflect exactly what it was.
Wow.
It was like Rotel dip and they called it like Mexican nacho inspired. I was like, this is Rotel. I know it's Velveeta.
So you started like, I'm reading that you watched a lot of videos with your daughter, the Paw Patrol and things like that. And you was like, well, you know, hey, did that really give you the idea that you—
With the chair?
Yeah.
No, I didn't have furniture.
So you never getting rid of this, huh?
No. No.
Your wife ain't gonna let you get rid of it.
No, that ain't going nowhere. That's going in the case somewhere in a few years. So how that happened was I literally didn't have furniture. Right. We bought my daughter a play set, and it was a little small white table, and it was this Paw Patrol chair. Or this is like the third one because I done broke so many of them. Been sitting in them. But it was a Paw Patrol chair, and it was sitting in this corner.
Right.
And she had like a little kitchen set up. So one thing about us as parents, I like to tip our hats off. No matter what we got, our kids gonna have everything.
Okay.
So I can be down to my last pair of shoes. I can be down to not eating. My kids gonna have whatever they think about. So my daughter can walk into the store and grab whatever she want. And this is when we was making $100 a week.
Wow.
And I'm talking about full blown. My 2-year-old walking down the aisles, grabbing stuff, throwing it in the cart. And however we about to make it happen, we gonna make it happen.
Right.
So she had every toy that you can think of. And we didn't have a kitchen table. And one day I was doing a food review and I didn't have anywhere to set up at. I didn't have no fancy lights. I ain't had no fancy setup.
Right.
I literally was setting my phone up on like either a bottle or like whatever I can get close to me. At one point it was a bowl of sugar.
Okay.
And I would just set my phone up on it. And her chair was sitting right there. And at this point I was probably like 150 pounds. I was shredded. I was lean, ripped. And I was like,
no,
I
you
can't
just
fit
hungry.
in it.
You ain't
I was built like a superhero. But I remember vividly sitting in that chair and I was like, if I can fit in, I'm about to make the video right here.
Right.
And I made the video and somebody commented like, what is he sitting on? And I was like, oh, this is having people talk.
Yeah.
Like, it's making people talk. So I was like, I'm about to just sit in it from now on.
Right.
And that just became a thing. And especially with the internet,
Right.
you don't know what's going to stick.
You don't.
Especially when you're not even trying.
Right.
Like how you didn't try to swipe on Instagram Live.
You
You don't even know what you're doing.
I don't.
I had to give you one, bro.
Well, see,
I ain't even got you one on that. I had to give you
But
one.
see, that's why I got somebody to handle that now.
Come on, Michelle. I had to give you one. Come on.
But see, the best part about that, it would have been a lot longer had he not turned it off, because he has access to my account. So had he not turned it off, it might have been 4 hours.
You ain't going for 4 hours, bro.
I'm just saying.
You ain't going for 4 hours.
You know,
You
they got me driving home, going to the gym. All that have been in there.
Yeah, for me, it was one of the situations where it was like, I didn't even know it was about to be a thing, and it just so happened to be a thing.
The Chipotle review. You you reviewed that steak quesadilla, and they liked it, I guess, because they got
What was that noise?
They got a quesadilla.
You gotta explain that for me. What was that?
No,
noise
but
there?
I'm just saying because at one point in time, I think you interviewed. It's like, man, they don't give you enough with.
Oh, the portion size.
Yeah,
Okay,
yeah, the portion size.
Understood.
I don't know. They might have kept that up for a week because they done gone back to the small portion size, Keith. I'm just saying.
So for me, even the way that happened, so there was a video that a lady named Lexus, she put out, and she goes around and she tries recommendations that employees make. So like, if you work at a restaurant, you do things that other people don't do because you've been there all day.
Right.
You just start messing with concoctions and whatnot. So her thing is that she goes around and she tries employee recommended. So she tried she tried Chipotle, and an employee recommended a steak quesadilla with fajitas and sour cream, right? So I just tried it and I'm like, oh, this is amazing.
Right.
In my mind, this is when Chipotle was like at the top of the game.
Yeah.
This one, everything was fresh, and like I said, it was my quesadilla was spilling how big it was. I tried it. I never in a million years thought that it was going to take off the way it was going to take off, and I know that's a cliche thing to say, but a week after I posted that video, I'm on the phone with the CEO of Chipotle, and like, they be having them real long tables.
Yeah.
They set the Zoom call up where the table was like, I was sitting on the edge of the table, and it was just a long like director, CEO, COO, and I'm sitting there in my car. I'm in a 2013 Hyundai Sonata, was it? Or Hyundai Accent. Hubcap falling off, the tent peeling. You got to make sure you put it in the gear the right way because it's syrup and all kind of stuff in the gear shift. I'm talking about full blown on the phone with the CEO of Chipotle, and he like, yeah, we want to bring the quesadilla and make it a full meal item. We want to name a Chipotle after you. They literally changed the entire Chipotle from Chipotle to Chipotle. Again, Shannon, I'm like, what are we doing?
Right.
But it was just stemmed from me sitting in this chair eating a fucking quesadilla.
Right. So how was that experience? Because like you said, man, bro, I'm in my apartment.
Yeah.
And I got the CEO of Chipotle
On the phone.
Yeah. And he's talking about, okay, we want to name we're going to put something on a menu, name something after you.
They had it. It was called a quesadilla, and it was on the app. Like I said, the Chipotle. The craziest thing about that Chipotle is the Chipotle. Me and my wife, we met when we worked at Asics inside of South Premium Outlet, and that Chipotle was directly in front of South Premium Outlet. So to go back there 3 or 4 years after, no, it was longer than that. Maybe like 7 years after me and her met, and standing in front of the spot that we met. But now we got a Chipotle named after us. It was surreal, and it was one of the things where it was like, I never questioned God, but it was like, why me?
Yeah.
What I did.
What did I do to deserve this?
Yeah,
flavor?
facts.
I'm looking at some of the companies you partner with: Chipotle, Pizza Hut, Wingstop, DoorDash, Pepsi, Chime, Hyundai, Microsoft. I mean, how does Keith Lee determine who he's going to partner with?
For me, it's a conversation that's had after, like I said, I prayed before everything. And you can feel it. You can feel when something's right and something's not right. I'll give you an exclusive here. We had a conversation with, I said the name because I ain't going. We had a conversation with, okay, I ain't gonna say the name, but one of the biggest fast food companies in the entire world. We had a conversation with them.
McDonald's.
And
Oh, I wasn't supposed to say the name either. Okay, my bad. Okay, go ahead.
Michelle, come on, Michelle. What are we doing, Michelle?
Hypothetically.
But we had a conversation with somebody, and come on, Shannon.
They like this.
No, so we had a conversation with somebody, and they initially reached out, and they was like, we want to have a full, this is supposed to be like a full commercial, a full deal, like a really big thing. And mind you, I'm not making that much money at the time. I'm making good money, but not like nowhere near to be turning. They was offering almost $1 million, Shannon. And I wasn't making nowhere near that. But they was having a conversation and they asked me, do I eat that food? And I don't.
Right.
Instead of saying, of course I eat it, trying to get the money.
Yeah.
Me as a person of integrity, I told him straight to his face. I was like, no, I've never ate it as a kid. I don't eat it now. I don't really eat fast food.
How much y'all offering? You know what? I always wanted to try. I always wanted to try that.
But it's like I said earlier with integrity, like it's something that I feel like I have to be able to pass down to my kids.
Right.
And have this conversation with them when I'm 50 or 60 and tell them like, no matter what position I was in, I've always been myself and I've always stuck to what I believe is right in my heart. And I had the conversation with them. He put me on the phone with the CEOs, and the first question he asked was, "All right, Keith, do you like this food, the brand, whatever it is? Do you like our brand?" Thinking I was gonna back down because we having a conversation in front of CEOs, in front of all of them people. Nope. And they said, "Oh, okay. Well, we'll have a conversation in the back end." I already knew it was a wrap.
Right.
That meant absolutely that's not about to work.
Right.
But it was just, like I said, a testament to who I've always stood on, and I've always stood my ground and put my feet in the ground and been who I say I am.
Is it easier to represent a brand? And because I find this myself, it's a lot easier to represent a brand if you use the product, if you eat the food.
Absolutely.
Because it's not rehearsed. It's not forced. I actually drive this car. I actually go to this place. I actually eat this food. As opposed to, I do.
For me, again, we blessed enough to have people that will really go out and get the product and try the product. And I refuse to stamp anything that I personally don't like, because I understand these are people's hard-earned money that they're going to spend.
Correct.
And I think a lot of people don't think about it like that. They just be like, "Oh, it's my money. I'm going to get the money for my family. I'm supporting." But it's like you also affecting other people's money, other people's family. Because if it's a product that you won't even stand behind and you don't eat in your daily life, or that you would eat, why are you about to make them spend their last earned money?
Right.
And like I said, I'm blessed enough to really have people that will go out with they last. And I'm talking about people be standing in line and having their own real issues. They stand in line for 8-9 hours.
Wow.
And it's like, I don't take that lightly. Like, I don't play with that. And I appreciate every last one of y'all. So every decision I've made, like how you asked, what decisions go into me picking certain partners that we deal with. I think of them. I think of my family. I think of, if I can ask myself 20 years from now, if that made sense, I can still say yes, no matter how it went. No matter if, like I said, I missed out on $1 million. No matter if I got $1 million. Like, I can have that conversation with myself later on the road and not regret it.
Wow. Congrats on being the first person in your family to own a home.
Thank you, man.
You just recently purchased a home, you and your beautiful wife and your 2 daughters. What was that moment like?
It didn't feel real. It felt like, I remember having a conversation like multiple times of like, who gonna walk in this house after we done? Like, where the landlord at?
Yeah.
I know he gonna come in here and be like, you can't change this, you can't change that. I'm gonna be transparent. It put me in a depression.
Wow.
It put me in a pretty deep depression. Survivor's guilt, survivor's remorse of like, feeling like it's gonna be snatched away. Feeling like, yes, I have it, but how long do I have it for? It's trauma. It's definitely trauma. I had to sit and question and ask myself, why am I in this house with my family and with the people that love me, and I'm surrounded by love and I feel alone. This is 2 weeks ago, so this ain't like 3-4 years.
Right.
It's like recent. And it just, so we sitting on almost 2 acres of land.
I am.
And I vividly, again, a week ago, standing in the backyard, like, whose is this? Like, it's one of those things where it's like, you don't believe you earned it and you don't believe you're worthy enough of it or for it. But other people and God deems you worthy enough. And just finding that self-worth and finding that self-confidence and being, I'm always thankful, but for me, it was like, this ain't mine. But then once I start seeing our stuff roll in and I start like seeing my kid, what really changed it for me and brought me out of depression, my daughter just learned how to ride a bike for the first time.
She got a lot of space.
I'm teaching her in the backyard of how to ride the bike, and we got a hill in our backyard. And when I say 2 acres, it's just all land. It's like we got trees, but for as far as the eye can go, it's just grass. And I literally like put her on the bike and let her roll down the hill, and I let her go, and I'm just watching her roll in this field of like grass, and like, I was like, you did it, man. Like, I really had to sit, it's not many times in my life I've been proud of myself, and I had to sit back and be like, I'm proud of me, man.
That's your best purchase. Have you made any bad purchases since you've been this Keith Lee?
No, I got a wife. I got a black wife. She don't let me make no dumb purchases. So my whole team is women. They be on my head, Shannon.
Right.
Like it ain't no go out splurge. Like,
you ain't got no new whip? I mean, I know you got something.
she bought me a whip. I don't splurge. The only thing I buy is shoes.
Right.
Shout out to Nike. The only thing I buy is shoes. I don't spend my money on nothing else, but like, so I have a shoe wall that I collect. I'm at probably, if I had to guess the worth, I would sell it right now for like 200 grand.
Really? Wow.
Yeah, that's the only thing I really spend money on.
Right.
But other than that, I don't spend money on nothing. Like they talk about me all the time. I walk around in like Target t-shirts.
Yeah.
Like I go to H&M, I go to Zara. Only very fancy thing I have other than the house, my wife bought me a Genesis G90.
Wow.
It was probably $120,000. Yeah, but I wouldn't spend it.
Right.
Yeah, she spent it because she know I wouldn't.
Is it now because of how you grew up and not having, sometimes you had to go without?
Oh, let me backpedal, sorry.
Go ahead.
The biggest purchase, not bad purchase, but the biggest purchase that I look in retrospect, it was the amount of money we gave out the first year. We started doing taxes, Shannon. We gave out damn near $300,000 the first year. Just like, here you go, take it.
I'm sure she said, we're not doing that no more.
Yeah, out of anything, I feel like it's not a regret because in my mind, to be a blessing, you got to get a blessing.
Right.
To get a blessing, you got to be a blessing. It's just, in retrospect, I think a lot of that comes from the way that I was raised too, of like, yeah, we had money every now and again, but I ain't never touched this kind of money.
Oh, yeah. It's different.
Yeah, it's a different, and it was hard for me to figure out how to say no. Mm-hmm. I ain't never been a person to, now I am,
right.
I'll say no in a heartbeat. Like it was a video that just came out when we was at Complex and a guy walked up and he asked me to record him for 2 seconds. And I was like, no, thank you. It just, they be trolling.
Yeah.
He wanted to like turn the camera around and like either do a dance or like stand there awkwardly or something like that. But now I'm getting to a point where I know how to say no. It took me a while to get there for sure. Mm.
Oh, so you go to Sneaker Con and you go to Complex Con, you be buying sneakers?
Oh yeah, Shannon.
You spend that kind of bread? She let you spend that kind of bread on kicks?
Only on shoes.
Oh,
Only on shoes. Shout out to Sacred Sneaks. I got a personal sneaker guy who's my best friend.
Right.
He crazy. He 21, but he the type to be getting like pairs dunks that's worth $100,000, or he'll fly over to Italy just to sell one pair of shoes that's worth $80,000, $90,000. When I get them, I don't be paying that.
Right.
But yeah.
What's the most expensive pair of sneakers? I don't have to know how much you pay for them, but what would you say you have that's customized?
Probably my 1985 collection. I got maybe 6 pairs of Jordan 1s from 1985. All of them was a pretty penny.
Are you not? You're not going to wear them, are you?
Mm-hmm. I put on my feet. I wear them when we was in Japan.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. I'm one of them. I don't spend money on stuff that's other than shoes. So for me, I've always wanted to collect shoes. I've always wanted to be a sneakerhead, but I just never could afford it. I used to wear Airwalks in high school, and I used to get made fun of a lot. That was the only time, I wouldn't even say bullied, but you know, people roasting. Yeah, I used to get roasted all the time for shoes. But it was, like I said, I either was wearing hand-me-downs or I was wearing, like I said, Airwalks or stuff that my mom and dad could afford. I got in trouble once. My brother, he wore a size 12. I wore a size 8.5. I took a pair of his Air Force Ones and he used to like color them, like with, this back when you used to get like white Air Force Ones and color them with a coloring pencil.
Yeah.
I took a pair of them. I stuffed 3 pairs of socks in them, put them in my book bag. He was gonna wear them to school that day. I had no idea. I put them in my book bag. I used to take the bus. So I walked to the bus stop. My mama, I had a full outfit back there too. I had a polo that came to like down here. It was supposed to come up here, but it was like down here.
Oh, you don't steal all your brother's clothes, huh?
Oh, I'm stealing everything. I go to school. I go to the bathroom. I take rubber bands. This is no lie. I take rubber bands. I take the sleeves, put the sleeves up here, put the rubber bands up. I take the socks, put them in the shoes. I'm walking around school looking like Bozo the Clown. My shoes coming up here. My mama, I'm walking through the hallway feeling like that guy. I randomly hear my mama voice. You know, your mama voice cut through everything.
Yeah.
I randomly hear my mama voice. I look up and she's standing there with my brother. Like, that was his outfit for the day. I'm like, oh, I start running. Book it. I'm running through the hallway. They end up catching me, end up putting the other clothes back on. I got talked about that so much, like for weeks, bro, for weeks. But now I think that has sparked now that I can afford the shoes that I've always wanted back then, I go and treat myself a little bit.
Did you get to see my live on Whatnot a few weeks ago? I sold 300 pairs of sneakers from my personal collection, and all the proceeds are going to my alma mater, Savannah State. that's going to be donated at a later date and time. The best part of the night was someone purchased a pair of shoes off my feet. For those who don't know, Whatnot is a live stream shopping platform where you can buy and bid on items in just about every category you can think of. For the sneakerhead, Whatnot is celebrating the best sneakers of 2024 with 2 days of crazy deals and giveaways from hundreds of sellers. You don't want to miss it. It's on December 5th and 6th on Whatnot. Use my code Shannon15 for $15 off your first purchase over $20. Not knowing how long this is going to last, hopefully it lasts another 10, 15, 20 years, investing. Are you a big investor now and be smart with your money? Because like you said, you never imagined in your wildest, Absolutely. I don't even know if you thought if you would become a professional MMA fighter, you'd be making bread like this.
1,000%. So again, I have a very strong team behind me. Like you said, we just bought our first house. It's been maybe like a year and a half, almost. Yeah, I would say like a year and a half where we start making this kind of money. We are doing big things, Shannon. First, shout out to BT and shout out to Churchy. We about to be on TV. Wow. We're gonna do a sitcom, Churchy, KevOnStage, one of my best friends. He has a sitcom that runs on normal cable and it runs on BET Plus. That's big for us. You know, normal cable is different. Yeah. It's different when you on an app, but if you could just scroll on cable, you could see a TV show. Yeah, like that's a different level. So I think that's investing and reinvesting in ourselves. The first year and a half, we literally just took all of the money that we was making and we put it right back into what we was doing. Okay. So with Food Tour, like I said, all of that, most of that comes out of pocket. Right. Because when you got too many hands in it, people get to tell you how to do it and what to do. I like my family being on the forefront. And when I work with companies, if I was work with a company that sponsored the whole Food Tour, I don't think that'd be the reality. So we really just invested all of our money right back. It's very expensive to go on the road like that. Like it ain't no joke. Like from hotels to flights to like the restaurants itself to just driving around in a Sprinter all day. It add up, bro. Like, but again, to get a blessing, you got to be a blessing. And pouring into what I feel like I was called to do, has brought us to where we are now. I think I'm gonna speak it into existence. These next few years are gonna be like insane. I don't know where I'm gonna be. I'm saying it right now. When I look back at this 3-4 years from now, as long as I'm with my family and I'm happy, that's all that matters to me. Wow. Yeah.
Impersonations. You become people like to parody. They like to parody you now. How do you feel about that?
It's hilarious to me. It's one of those things where I feel like it's only a few people who's done it well. Kenan Thompson being one of them when he did SNL. Yeah, he did it perfectly. Yeah, I ain't gonna lie. I like when people are realistic about the impression. A lot of times it's like a trope to impersonate me, and it's like a very stereotypical like, "Hi, my name is Keith Lee. I got it. Let's try it and rate them 1 through 10." I don't talk like that. I don't sound like that at all. It'd be like real high pitched and real like stuffy. The only reason I speak in that cadence and that conversation, again, you're doing a great job because we touching stuff that I didn't even think we was gonna touch. The only reason I speak like that is because, again, my social anxiety. If I don't slow down, you won't understand anything that's coming out of my mouth. Right. They always say, like you said, I got a speech impediment. That's why I said, who told you I got a speech impediment? You been talking to my wife before the camera turned on? So it's like they always talk about my voice. So the only way that I can make sure I'm enunciating and you can hear me is to slow down and talk in a very monotone, relaxed way. But if you do an impersonation, it just got to be like, calm. Yeah. I feel like that's more than anything. I don't talk like this.
Kenan said he tried the Hennessy Habanero Fruity Pebbles chicken sandwich from Lisa Soul Foods in Atlanta.
Yeah, he got it. Shout out to SNL. Yeah, he got it. Yeah, he got it.
So on a scale of 1 to 10, you give him a 10 for that.
Yeah. He was the best one so far. There is a guy who he been impersonating me for like a year and a half to the point where that's like his main page now. Yeah.
Is that the evil Keith Lee?
No, his name.
You got an evil Keith Lee.
I got a few Keith Lee doppelgangers, but it's one guy. He does like Keith Lee parodies, but he's like in Atlanta, and we met him in person. We don't look nothing alike. Really? He like 6 feet tall. He's like 6 feet tall. He had like plaits. He didn't even have locks, and he walked up. He's like, "Yeah, people tell me we look like all the time." I was looking. Yeah, he was like 6'2". I looked up at him. No, we don't. I'm 5'9". But I feel like impersonation wise, yeah, it's definitely Kenan got it.
Right. Did run into some controversy with the Taraji P. Henson.
Oh, let's talk about it, Shannon.
What happened?
All right. So again, these are things that I've never talked about, specifically because I like my family being on the forefront and I like the restaurant to be the main focus. The only time I do speak on it is when I feel like it's starting to affect my family or starting to affect the money that I bring in for my family. But like the details of it, I've never gotten to the details, so we'll get into the details. So I had a conversation with BET before we had walked out or anything. We did a convention. It was like a foodie con or something, maybe like a week before, and we met one of the heads from BET there.
Okay.
And we did the BET Awards the year before. So when we met her, she was like, "Oh yeah, what y'all wearing to the BET Awards?" At this point, we didn't even have an invitation. So I'm like, I don't know, we not going. She like, "What? Everybody would love to have y'all there. Y'all gotta be there. We love y'all so much." And this whole year, we had worked with BET maybe like 3 or 4 times prior to this.
Okay.
And she was like, "Yeah, we love you. We want you here." Like we had a full conversation. They ended up getting us the tickets. We had front row tickets. We had the red carpet and all of that. I told her beforehand, the love that y'all say that y'all have for us, I don't feel it, because when y'all do mention us or y'all do bring us up in conversation, it's always the most negative thing that you can possibly talk about.
Oh.
It's always like the drama, or like, it's never like, we went to a restaurant and we was blessed enough to leave thousands of people at a restaurant that was about to close tomorrow, or like anything that was positive and is 90%, I would like to think is 90% positive what we do,
right.
10% of the bullshit.
Right.
And I feel like a lot of times it was the bullshit that was being brought up. So I had a conversation with her transparently about it, and we talked about it. We talked again before we went up into the award show. We was sitting backstage and I was talking to one of the heads of BT, and I told her the same thing. And I was saying, you don't have to include us. I'm okay with being in the Sprinter van with my family and just eating food. That's more than enough for me. If you are gonna include us, include it from a place that y'all want us here, and not just because we viral or we food influencers that like are big right now. I was like, include it from a place of the love that you say that you have for us.
Right.
Because what I don't like is that you come to us every time you see me, it's immediately like, "Oh, we love you so much. We want to do this, we want to do that," and then nothing comes out of it, right?
Right.
So we go to the award show. We sitting behind DC, Young Fly. We sit next to, what's his name? No, the original seats that we were in. We would sit next to an older guy, and everybody was like being super rowdy, and me and him, we talking, we having conversations, we laughing with each other. I'm telling him like, you ain't gotta worry about my wife standing up and twerking. We sitting here, we enjoying the show.
Right.
We laughing, we having a ball. So it's probably halfway through the show, a person from BET walks up, or a person from production walks up, and she says, "Hey, we about to switch your seats in a minute because we're doing a episode, or we doing a segment to where we giving people their flowers," right? Mind you, I just talked to BET an hour ago, and I'm like, y'all don't have to do this. I'm okay sitting in these seats, having conversations with, I think his name was Dr. Bobby Jones. Now, yeah, we sit next to Dr. Bobby Jones. I'm like, this is more than enough for me. Like, I'm more than thankful just to be here. They like, "No, we gonna sit you on the front row and we gonna give you your flowers. And we really wanna highlight you. We really wanna," and I'm saying all of this to the production lady, like, don't bring us up here with the bullshit. Like, I'm okay with sitting here. She's like, "No, come on." So they come get us maybe like 10 minutes later. They put us in Tyler. She was sitting there, she had got up and left. So they put us in Tyler's seats. Sit next to Tyler, we sit next to Jordan and what's
Michael
Jordan?
B. Jordan?
No, Jordan the Stallion. He's a guy from TikTok.
Okay.
He does like the where he like turn his camera around, he in the bathroom and he like do like reaction videos.
Okay.
Me and Jordan look nothing alike.
Okay.
Again, Jordan 6'2", big scruffy beard. He got a curly afro. Me and Jordan are really friends too. That's what made all of this even crazier. So me and Jordan, we sitting there. Taraji come out, and this is the biggest thing that I want to get throughout this whole story. I didn't blame Taraji for 1 second, because it was all production that was making things that didn't have to be made.
Right.
They was making a spectacle that had no business being a spectacle. So they come around, she's starting to do her segment. We're reading the prompter, and on the prompter is saying like, give Flajay her flowers, say this about Flajay, do this, that, and the third. So she read off of the prompter for Flajay specifically. She do like 2 or 3 more people. She come over to us, and she immediately walked past me, walked to Jordan and she started talking to Jordan as if Jordan was me. And I'm reading the prompter, and the prompter is saying like, tell Keith Lee, give Keith Lee his flowers, this and the third. And she look at Jordan and she go, I bet you rate this award show 10 out of 10. And Jordan go, oh, no, that's him. Mind you, at this whole time, I'm not upset at Taraji at all. I'm like, I understand a whole bunch is going on. They just threw this on you. They didn't have to throw this on you.
Right.
Again, we was okay sitting in the back. Like, they just made this a last minute ditch effort to give us our flowers. They had she come over, she like, oh, my bad. She immediately start like improving, because again, this is a situation where it's a lot going on. So she starts saying like, you look good too. Even though my wife is sitting right here, she like, oh, you look good. Give him his flowers, this, that, and the third. And then she tell Jordan that he look good. And just a whole bunch of improv. She leave, me and Jordan looking at each other like, what just happened? Like, it was the craziest thing. I'm sitting there like, you didn't have to do that. Like, my wife and I were more than content with just being in the moment. So,
sitting in the seats where we were, chilling, having a good time talking.
You didn't have to do all of that. So,
but you put us in that spot and F it up.
For no reason. Now that I open my phone, literally when I say 5 seconds after it happened, I open my phone, be the number one thing on Twitter. And it's like, Keith Lee looked so embarrassed. His wife looked humiliated. And his wife, she was flirting in front of his wife. She was this, that, and the third. And they was just dragging the situation out. And I took the rose that they gave me. I dropped it on the floor. The reason I dropped it on the floor, because this whole time, I'm like, that's not for me. That wasn't meant for me. What was meant for me was to sit there where I was sitting at and mind my business. Because if it was meant for me, it would have went just as smooth as everything else was going. Like I said, we were sitting there laughing, smiling, having fun. When I dropped the rose, I was speaking directly to production. Like, don't do this again. If we gonna come and we gonna enjoy the royal show, enjoy it how we had the conversation. Mind you, I know all of this is happening because I had the conversation with them before. But people online, they just see, oh, he dropped the rose, he talking directly about Taraji. So they make it into a huge thing of like me disrespecting her, this and the third. So I take the video down because I am a supporter of Black women and I'm a supporter of us as a people. And to see her on stage killing it the way she killed it, I didn't want that to be clouded by the unnecessary bullshit. So I took the video down specifically for that reason. But then, people dig into that. They're like, why he take the video down? It's because people was getting on his head and this and the third. So Taraji come out and she say, yeah, his ego was hurt. And the whole time, I'm like, Taraji, I didn't have no issue. I didn't have no problem with you. If anything, I feel like she should have understood that I was talking directly to production. Because I know the situation that you was in. We was in it together. We was literally looking at the prompter and the teleprompter together. So I understand that it was nothing that she did. It just was a spare of the moment kind of thing. And I felt like she would understand that I wasn't coming from a place of attacking her. But it was one of those things where it was like, it is what it is. I still got love for Taraji. I never had no ill will in my heart for her. I still got love for BT. That's why I said we doing the BT thing. Because I called them, we had I still haven't had a conversation with Taraji, but BT called me and we had a full conversation. I told them exactly how I felt and they apologized and they was like, we understand that it was super last minute and next time we do something, we gonna plan it out and we actually gonna think about it and make it a heartfelt thing if we gonna actually do it.
But how did it make you feel for probably the first time since you started and you became this internet sensation that you had people kind of come for you? How did you handle it? How did your wife handle it? Because you guys are a package deal.
I was pissed off, but I was pissed off from a perspective of it was being made as if I was going at Taraji. I don't care what people say about me. People have been talking about me my whole life. So I told you, I've always been the one that stick up for myself. So that part in my head, again, I don't see myself like that anyway. Right. So you can say he ain't a celebrity, he want to be a celebrity. I want to be Keith. I want to be nothing else. Right. So when those comments was coming, I wasn't paying no attention to it. Only time I ever got upset is when people was like, he's down in Black women. He's taking away from the shine of a Black woman in a Black woman's time where she was doing something amazing for us and pushing the culture forward. That's when I was getting pissed off. Because I didn't want it to be misconstrued that I was coming to her. My family will tell you, I literally was having conversations with them and I was like, bro, if they just leave her out of this. And then when she started getting mad at me, I'm like, why are we going at it? Like, why is it always spun to where it's two of us that look the same getting into an altercation that don't need to be had.
Would you have felt better had she just if she would have picked up the phone, or somebody could have put you guys in contact with each other so you guys could talk to this thing?
1,000%. Yeah.
Man to woman.
Rather than just saying like, oh, his ego hurt. Like I feel like but again, I don't expect anything because we don't have no personal relationship.
Right.
I understand it was just as stressful for her to get all of those comments and getting all of the feedback. And so just as stressful, and again, it was clouding what she was doing that night.
Right.
So I understand the frustration from her end because she like, I'm doing something that I've always dreamed about doing and getting, because she came out publicly about her not getting the respect that she deserves.
Right.
And she was getting the respect that she deserved that night, and it got clouded by something as stupid as dropping a rose. So I feel like from her perspective, I fully understand. Like I said, I don't hold no ill will or no feelings towards her. It's one thing that I did want to talk about.
What's up?
I didn't even think about it. The BET Wars. Again, I've never spoke on this before. There was a video that came out of a guy walking up in Gerald Houston. He walk around with the cameras, the cameras on his glasses, and he purposely mistakes people for other people. And he did it to us, and he called me DDG, and he walked up, and it turned into like a fiasco of us like actually getting into it. I wanted to make it very clear because again, I never spoke on it. I didn't have no problem with Gerald. Gerald grabbed me.
Right.
He walked up the thing and he grabbed my waist.
Right.
And I was like, hey, don't do that.
Right.
It's the difference between him saying, oh, you DDG. I'm the type to laugh about that. I don't care about
I'm not
people
DDG,
trolling.
but
But I don't care about people trolling.
Yeah, but
me and
don't touch me.
DDG stood next to each other. He came, I just met his mama, was that last week, and my whole family said we look alike. So from that part, I was like, I can laugh about
Right.
it. I just don't like being touched.
Is the touching part.
So I wanted to make that very clear. I think that was one of my biggest things I wanted to get off while we doing this, is that like if you trolling, I get that. I just don't like being touched, bro. Like I think that comes from me being a fighter my whole life and from just anxiety in general and me being outside and really trying to get to that space of being comfortable in those spaces of 1,000 people around us and taking pictures and whatnot. I'm getting a lot better and I do pride myself on that. It's just the touching.
Right.
That takes me immediately back to like, get away from me. Like, don't grab me.
Troll, but keep your hands to yourself.
Exactly. But it was fun to like, I was mad that he was calling me DDG and I wanted to be a celebrity and I want him to know who I am. And I was mad he didn't know. I didn't care about none of that. I don't care if you know who I am. God know who I am, man. My family know who I am. That's what matters the most to me.
Go James and the Lakers are back putting on a show. And you know I got to get the best deal on tickets. That's why I need to tell you about my sponsor, SeatGeek. With over 28 million downloads, SeatGeek is the #1 rated ticketing app. There are more than 70,000 events on SeatGeek, including concerts, sports, festivals, and more sports. I'm excited to go see the Lakers dominate the Sixers at the Crib. They put all their tickets across the web in one place to make sure you're getting a good deal. Each ticket is rated on a scale of 1 to 10. So you look for the green dots. Green means good, red means bad. And you know I came through for you guys. Use my code Shay for $20 off tickets at SeatGeek. That's $20 off your first purchase with promo code Shay. What have you learned about fame?
It's fickle. It's very fickle. Carlos said the other day, they didn't make me, so they can't break me. I don't listen to the positive or the negative. I just go and do what I feel like I'm supposed to do day by day. Fame is fake, in my opinion, because the second they deem that you is somebody and you somebody important and they love you, they hold you to the highest regard. The second that you show that you human, like you've been trying to say you human the whole time, they tear you down for being human. We all have sex on Instagram Live, Shannon. You can't tear nobody down for that. You human being at the end of the day. Like, for me, the second that people see that you human, they try and ridicule you for it, and I hate that part of it. Like, bro, I'm a mess up. Yeah, I'm gonna do stuff that you feel like celebrities ain't supposed to do. Celebrities are human beings just like you. Like, again, we in the apartment that everything started in. This ain't no set. Like, this is legit where like my life like spanned to what it is now.
Changed.
Like literally changed dramatic. Like I vividly remember standing up, screaming to the top of my lungs when we first made our first like $50,000. So to be back here and being multi-millionaires with me and my wife, like it feels like, again, it feels like I'm human, and that the fame aspect tries to rip that apart and tries like to not let you be human, and I hate it.
I have a very interesting story I heard. I don't know if it's true. You can confirm this. Your wife, you took her.
Not you took her. Okay, yeah, that's true.
She was with someone, and you came along and promised, babe, I'm gonna take you away from this.
Hey, Shannon. Him.
She over there laughing. She laughing. How did you know she was the one? Because at first you didn't, because you still was carrying on with your.
Yeah, I was on some bullshit.
You still was out there. You was out there
I was on some bullshit. Like I said, we met when I was like 18, 19.
Right.
So I wasn't in a space to be like, her mom knew it from jump. That's the craziest part. I met her mama, and we talk about this all the time. The second I met her mama, I walked in, I was trying to be real polite, and I tried to sit down and be like, hi, can I sit down in the chair? She was like, boy, if you don't sit your ass down. She was like, you ain't fooling nobody. I swear it's a true story. She's like, you ain't fooling nobody. And I had a conversation with her. She told me to my face, she was like, you ain't ready for my daughter. I'm thinking I'm being smooth. And I'm like, what? What you mean? Like, we gonna be together for... She's like, you about to cheat. I see it. I can see it in your face. I can see you're not serious. Like, she was right. I was a kid.
Mom, you about to blow my cover.
Immediately. I'm talking about off the rip, out loud to everybody. But again, mamas always know.
Yeah.
I was definitely on some bullshit early. But what made me know that she was the one, we had broke up because, again, I was cheating and she was cheating and we just was doing dumb kid shit. When I was with other people, I was trying to find her and them. And every single thing that they would do, I would compare to her. And I'd be like, but you don't do it this way. You don't do this. You don't do that. And again, listening to God, I remember we had a conversation and I told her straight to her face, if we gonna do this, we gonna do it serious and we gonna take it completely serious. And I devoted my life to her when that was in 2018. And ever since then, I don't even look at nobody else. Like, that's everything I need, bro. Yeah.
How important is it for you to find a woman because she was with you during the struggle? Because it's easy. This Keith Lee, a lot of women, hey, why the boy know he everything I've been looking for.
You ain't never
She
lied.
was there when you had nothing. And as you started to build, she's been right alongside you.
Absolutely.
How important is that for a man to find, or a woman, to find that person during the struggle?
That's everything, bro. Like, when you say nothing, is that, I don't even think you understand, Shannon. When we first moved in together, so we was living with my brother at the time, like, see, he had the money. Once I took it serious and was like, I'm really devoted to this relationship, like I said, 2018, into 2018, early 2019, we moved out and we got an apartment together. Or, I ain't gonna say we got an apartment together. She got an apartment under her cousin's name.
Right.
She moved in, I moved in behind her. I wasn't paying no rent. I had no money.
Right.
I wasn't bringing no money in, no income. When I say that house got broken in, we was there we stayed in a lower apartment that was on the bottom floor. It was like right in front of, we was on Boulder Highway and Russell. If you from Vegas, you know that's the stroll. Like, it get like that over there.
Yeah.
We saw somebody get shot in the front. When I say, like, literally outside of our window to where we had to, I opened the window, I saw her get shot in the stomach. I went and crawled in a closet just in case they kept shooting and stray bullets came in. We had a dog at the time, so it was me and her on the floor with our dog. Somebody broke into the house while I was like walking across the street to go get something from the gas station, because we was eating out the gas station. That's how we was eating our dinners. In the Roberto's, if you know Roberto's in Vegas, it's like a little burrito spot. We was eating Roberto's and sharing it. Somebody broke into the house. Somebody broke into our car maybe a week after that, and they left somebody's wallet on the floor. And I'm thinking, oh, I found the person who broke into the car. I go search the wallet. I find the ID. I'm walking around the complex asking everybody who this man was. I end up finding him. It was a guy who stayed in the complex. I walk up ready to fight. I take my shirt off. I'm running up to him. He got a gun on his hip. I'm like, I'm not thinking about none of that. He come tell me, he like, somebody broke into my house, into my car, took my wallet, put it in your car on purpose so you can come down here and do this. He was ready to blow my head off, Shannon. For her to be with me in that moment, it meant like, no matter what happens, she see me at my worst. Like, worst is understatement. She seen me to a point where, like, financially, I was at my worst, physically, spiritually, mentally. No matter what happens with social media, with the money, I always know I got a dog with me. Like, I think it's a different feeling when you walk in a room with a blue nose and you know you got somebody protecting you.
They're gonna ride.
You got somebody that's gonna ride with you no matter what. It's like, I've already seen it. Like, I've seen it from the very beginning. Man, I owe my life to that woman.
Right. You have 2 daughters, and you hear the term girl dad. You want a son? You want a little?
She do. Look, she's smirking and she definitely do. For me, my kids, I raise my kids just like kids. So I don't really look at the gender too much. I've always been like that. My daughter's rough, bro. Like, you walk in a room, you don't know what my daughter is. You don't know what they about to do. Right. So for me, I'm just happy I got healthy kids, man. Like, that's a blessing just to be able to say my kids are healthy. They walking around, they running, they playing. Like I said, I saw them in the backyard and I could see like them, like they starting to become country already, and they only been there for a month. Like, cause we in Texas, so they starting to get little accents. What I want a son, I just want a healthy kid. Right. We probably gonna get 1 or 2 more.
1 or 2 more?
Yeah, 1 or 2 more.
See, now you got the space, you got acres, you got a big old crib.
That's a fact.
You straight now.
You ain't never lied.
You mentioned you were from Detroit.
Born and raised.
Got kicked out of 6 schools. You mentioned you were bad. You mentioned that you make no bones about it. I was a problem.
Absolutely, without question. It wasn't even like, maybe in the moment I was trying to find something to blame, but as an adult, absolutely.
It wasn't nobody. The teacher picked on me. They didn't like me.
Shannon.
Everything that I got, I deserved. It was
absolutely 1,000%. Because a lot of times, like I said, it was a miscommunication, and instead of trying to understand, I would just immediately lash out. I wasn't even like the type to try, and if it was, I took a little bit from my dad. Like I said, it was his way or no way. I was doing the same thing, just in my own way. It was like, either you gonna communicate with me and tell me exactly what we doing and why we doing it, or I'm not listening to it at all. So in retrospect, I just followed behind what I knew, just tried to do it in my own way. In my head, I'm doing it completely different, but I was doing the same thing.
You mentioned that your father, what was your relationship? Because I remember you told me that what happened with the incident where he came home and got the gun, he ended up going to jail. What was the relationship with your father? You mentioned that he was old school. It was like, it ain't no, well, Keith, this is why we're doing it this way. Well, Keith, let me have this conversation with you. You doing it because I said do it.
Immediately.
And that's the end of the discussion. My grandpa used to always say, you don't ration with a child. You tell the child what you want him to do, and that's the end of the conversation. And that's how we brought up. So what type of relationship did you have with your father?
As a kid, we didn't really have much of a relationship at all. He was a provider. He was a provider. He was a person who worked nonstop. He would literally go home. I mean, he would go to work. He was very typical. Go to work, bring the bacon home, get the biggest plate, get the biggest chicken wing, go upstairs, go to sleep, do the same thing the next day. As an adult, I take my hat off to him because he, no matter what, it was to a point where he literally told me, like, we don't have to have a relationship. Like fences. Like, he was Denzel Washington.
Yep.
I don't have to like you. I don't have to love you. I keep a roof over your head. I keep food in your stomach. That's all I have to do. And that's literally our relationship from me being in high school, from like 8th, 9th grade to when I graduated.
I read you thought about suicide?
I didn't think about it. I did it.
Did you?
Full blown. Jumped off the balcony.
Did you break anything?
So I had me and my dad got into it. We got into it real bad. After the conversation.
Do you remember what the argument was about?
Okay, I'll give you something that I ain't gave nobody. Come on, Shannon. If we gonna get deep, we gonna get deep. Dad, I love you. Me and my dad are best friends now, and this is in the past. But we had gotten to it because he told me that I couldn't go somewhere. And I said, F you. Who you telling me I ain't going?
Whoa.
Shannon.
That was your exact words?
Shannon, F you. What are you talking about? I'm
How
going
you gonna
outside.
tell this story now?
Shannon, he gonna kill me. Me and my dad are best friends now. My dad is right now in Texas with my daughters.
Okay.
But yeah, I full blown got a little.
You feeling good?
My courage up.
Okay.
I was like I said, this is my senior year of high school. I was in a very deep, dark depression, to a place where like nothing mattered anymore. So I just was like, whatever about to happen is gonna happen. So I full blown was cussing him out. He was like, let's go in the backyard.
No, okay.
We went in the backyard.
You want this smoke, huh?
We got into it, did whatever we was about to do. He got in the car, left, went with his friends, and he told me that his friends was like, he gotta go. Like, he can't live in your house and treat you like that, speak to you like that. Like, you gotta go home and get him out of there, basically. So he came back home maybe at like 2 or 3 o'clock in the morning. He had something in his hand. I ain't gonna say what he had in his hand. He had something in his hand, sat on the edge of my bed, and he was like, if you move, something about to happen. I remember sitting up, and that's when he told me, like, we ain't gotta have no relationship. We gotta have no, you don't ever talk to me like that. You don't ever treat me like that, and you won't have no problems. But that happened again, it's over with. You can read between the lines. So that put me into a place of like, if you gonna do it, I'm gonna do it before you do it.
Right.
So I walked outside. I grabbed a bunch of ties. I had like a collection. Well, he had a collection of ties. I grabbed maybe like 10 ties. I tied them together. He had like this makeshift garage. So the garage, and then there was like a awning that he had built, like a shed almost. Because it snows a lot in Michigan. So to be able to sit outside during the winter, he had made like a little makeshift, maybe like 10 feet off the ground. I took the ties, put it on top of the balcony, tied it up, tied it around my neck, stood on top of the cooler, pushed the cooler under my feet, started dangling in the air. I'm in the air for maybe like what felt like 10 seconds. I'm at the point where like you start trying to regress, but it's too late. So I'm like trying to grab the ties, I'm trying to pull myself up. My dad sees me. This is why I take my hat off to him. After everything we just went through, out of all of the conversations he just had of me not being his son no more, and we just he got to take care of me till I'm 18 kind of relationship, he came, picked me up, took me off them ties, and told me how much he loved me, and that's why I'm here today.
Wow.
I would have been gone, Shannon.
Was that the first time your dad ever told you he loved you?
First time he said it like that. First time he said it in a way of like, I want you here. Like, I understand what we going through, and I understand that this is just a phase, and this is just a part of life, and we gonna make it together, and we gonna get out of it together. That was the first time where I felt it. He might have said it before, but that's the first time where I was like, oh, okay, I got you. Like, I understand. Now I'm living for something different than just myself.
And that was the first, and that completely changed your relationship with your father.
Completely, yeah, absolutely. It was like, when I say to a point where it was awkward after that, like, he just saw his son try to take his own life. So it was like, it can't just get back to normal immediately, right? But there was a level of like, we both got to try for this. Like, we both
I think you have a new level of respect for him.
It's a new level, absolutely. Like, I understood now, like, he do love you. He just don't, again, he grew up without his father. He grew up in inner city Detroit. He was in trouble a lot younger. So he just was doing the best that he could do with what he had.
Right.
And like I said, he taught me a lot of hard work. He taught me a lot of discipline. And I think that kind of put into perspective for me, like, all right, it's bad, but it ain't that bad.
A lot of men from his era, love was food on the table,
absolutely,
clothes on your back, a roof over your head. That was love.
And for me, they always call me a mama's boy because my mama is the complete opposite. My mama like rubbing head,
go hug you,
she was full blown like. To this day, my mama, what she called me? She called me Michael Jackson. I'm the biggest superstar to ever live, to ever exist. Oh, don't wait till this over. I'm FaceTimer, and she gonna freak out when she see you. She gonna panic. But it's gonna be from a place of like, oh, I knew my baby was a superstar. I knew he was gonna be there. Shannon better be in there talking to him. Like, so it was like I said, it was a balance of like, I got that from my mama, but then I would go over to my dad, and it would be the complete opposite. It'd be like, nigga, that's what you're supposed to do. Right. Like, you supposed to go up and go to school. You supposed to be sitting here with Shannon. Like, that's what you're supposed to do. It wasn't like you said, it's old school. It wasn't no like tender love and care. It wasn't none of that. But he had 3 boys, so I understood it.
The Emirates NBA Cup is here. You can win big getting in on the action at DraftKings Sportsbook, an official sports betting partner of the NBA. All 30 teams split into 6 groups every Tuesday and Friday, playing for the right to advance into a single elimination in-season tournament, culminating in the NBA Cup Championship in Las Vegas. First time, here's something special for you. New DraftKings customers bet $5 to get $150 in bonus bets if your bet wins. Score big with DraftKings Sportsbook. Every point counts. Download the DraftKings Sportsbook app. Use code MONEYMOVES. That's code MONEYMOVE for new customers to get $150 in bonus bet if your bet wins when you bet just $5. Only on DraftKings. The crown is yours. What's next on Keith Lee's bucket list?
On my bucket list? Ooh, that's a great, nobody ever asked me that. What's on my bucket list? I definitely want to go to Africa. Okay. Not only from a food perspective. So even before we did food reviews, I've always been a foodie. So I fought in North Africa in Morocco. My brother fought in Brazil. I fought in Canada a bunch of times. Every single time I went to those places, I was focused on the food. I would walk around, I would eat the food, I would go travel by myself, like literally just leave the hotel and just explore. But now that I'm in this space of like being a true foodie and being paid to be a foodie, Africa is definitely on my bucket list. Like, I really want to do the Rwanda trek where you go and sit with the gorillas.
Gorilla, yeah.
I really want to do that. Like, that's on my like high on my bucket list.
The Virunga.
I can't wait to do that. I want to open a school over there.
Okay.
I want to open a school in Detroit.
Okay.
I want to go back and buy all of the old houses that we lived in Detroit, and I want to open them up to like either group homes or for people who went through traumatic experiences, specifically like women and kids. Oh, you good, Shannon. Man, so you got me thinking of shit that I would tell nobody but my family. I really want to do, I want to act for sure. Like I said, that's why we stepping into, shout out again to Churchy and to KevOnStage. We do an international food tour next. I think that's really big on my bucket list, is going and exploring different cultures and different cuisines and touching different people that look like us in different places.
Would you ever consider opening a restaurant?
It's a lot of work to go into opening a restaurant. We just met Mark Wahlberg at his restaurant like a week ago, and seeing him walk around at his opening and seeing how he handled it and like how he like was maneuvering around him having his own restaurant was the first time where we had a conversation that we would have a restaurant. I respect the game. Like I said, I respect what go into it. I respect the ins and outs, and I know it's stuff that I don't even know about it yet. So yes and no, because I feel like that's one of the hardest games to get into, and people really don't realize that. They think it's just food.
Well, Keith, bro, I appreciate you.
This is crazy.
I appreciate you with the food tour.
Likewise, brother.
Much success, continued success, bro. It's been an honor.
I appreciate you.
Keith Lee.
Yeah, this is crazy.
Do you eat fast food? What? Do you eat fast food?
I don't eat no fast food. The fastest food I eat is Chipotle. But yeah, no, like, I rarely go through drive-thrus. I really don't eat fast food for the most part. Nope.
You don't let the girls get McDonald's?
I don't eat McDonald's.
Ah, man.
Nah.
Y'all done grew up on, your wife done grew up on McDonald's. Y'all done grew up on McDonald's, and now y'all deny these kids.
But now it's different, because I got parents, right?
Right.
Both of my parents are still alive, and they are amazing grandparents.
Right.
And they are so amazing that they do whatever the kids want and not what I tell them to do.
Exactly.
So they get McDonald's with them, absolutely. Yeah, they get the Happy Meal, the full experience. So to them, they absolutely live the life that I lived as a kid.
Right.
But when Daddy around, yeah, we don't get fast food.
Where's the best place to take a lady on a first date?
Ooh, the best place. It depends on the connection, right?
Okay.
I think that's always been the biggest conversation of like, you got to spend this much on the date, you got to spend that much.
Can we go get the oxtail plate?
Yeah, it depends on what you feeling.
Keith, you know
we
good well
get
today.
some oxtail, we go get some barbecue, I'm talking about get messy. I'm a foodie, bro. We go get some food, some sauce. I understand what you're saying though.
Yeah.
You're saying and nowadays that's not the culture.
Yeah, no.
But I'm blessed enough to say when I found my wife, I really didn't have no money at all to my name, and we went to a place that's here in Vegas. It's called Brio, and it was like an Italian spot, but it's pretty much like a elevated Olive Garden. But nowadays you can't go to no Olive Garden.
No.
My wife can.
Yeah.
That was amazing.
I'm looking at a lot of these restaurants. Either some are closing down a lot of their stores, some are just going out of business. You look at Red Lobster's, Hooters, Cracker Barrel, Applebee's, TGI Fridays, Denny's, Outback, Hardy. If they came to you and said, Keith, give us a review of what you believe that could help us be the restaurants we once were. Because in our childhood and upbringing, we were these places were lit. What would you go in there? I mean, you've had, I don't know how much of I'm sure you've had Red Lobsters. I don't know if you had Cracker Barrel or anything. That's normally a Southern thing. But how would you go in there and like sample the food and like, okay, this is what I think.
What advice would I give?
Yes.
For them to stay open or flourish how we remember them flourishing? It's changing with the times, right? So a lot of those restaurants, especially like chain restaurants, they get, in my opinion, complacent in what was. Because like you said, we've been going for years. I think a lot of them get stuck in that and not really on social media, not in a place where everybody got their phone in their hand at all times. There is a huge market and demographic to hit just being relatable,
right?
Where people can feel like they seen, and feel like they are understood when it comes to these restaurants. So if I was to give any advice, especially somewhere like a Red Lobster, or I feel like the main focus should be what people come in there for, right?
Yeah.
Them Cheddar Bay biscuits.
Yeah.
That's what people come for.
They're cutting out the bottomless shrimp.
See, I'm allergic to shellfish, so
Yeah,
I've always heard people talk about the Cheddar Bay biscuits. But it's marketing, but it's marketing in a way where we continue push the times. We get younger people on the team.
Right.
We get people who understand the scopes of social media. We get people who understand what people are looking at on a day-to-day. We get people who understand the culture, and we bring them in and we integrate that into the actual business, which I feel like a lot of chain restaurants don't do anymore.
Man, but a lot of women in today, they want to photograph their food. Chicken tenders are not photographable.
I hear you.
You know what I'm saying? A lot of the stuff that these places present, people ain't really wanting to put that. They want to put the presentation. They got it stuff like this, and the plates all clean. I mean, when did this happen? When did it become vogue or fashionable that every time you go eat, we got to take a picture of what we're eating?
I tested the Instagram. So when Instagram first came around, it was, I don't know if you remember how Instagram was when it first came, but Instagram was very like, you post everything in your day to day.
Okay.
Like you even saw people like LeBron James and people who we had no accessibility to and day to day posting stuff like just walking outside of the house or like going in his car. And I feel like that's where it stemmed from, is making more of a community when it comes to who you able to reach. But I feel like a lot of times, like I said, it's more or less of like getting left behind. Because if I was Red Lobster, when that whole conversation was going around about, oh, girl going to the restaurant for the first time and y'all saying we don't go to restaurant or we don't go to Red Lobster for the first date and all of that. If I'm Red Lobster, I'm capitalizing on that completely.
Absolutely.
I'm on social media the whole time. Like, this is why you come to Red Lobster. Like, and I feel like the reason why a lot of those opportunities are missed is because they don't reach back out to people, not only who look like us, but people who are of my generation. Like I said, I'm 28, so that generation of 22 to 28, it's like people have.
They didn't grow up eating Red Lobster like a lot of.
Exactly, and it's like I feel like it gets left behind from generation. But if you tap into Twitch, you tap into TikTok, you tap into all of these different platforms where kids really are on Twitch nonstop. You see, shout out to Kai. Kai has a community. You tell Kai to go tell people that Red Lobster, you can go on a first date and take a girl on a first date. Everybody gonna be taking a girl on a first date to Red Lobster. I think it's just more or less of connecting with the culture and connecting with the people.
Yeah.
Which I'm blessed enough to be able to do.
You paid a Georgia restaurant's rent for like 3 months. How do you decide who to give money to? I mean, what goes into that process? Because you say it's a team, your wife, your sister's here with you. You guys go in there, you sample the food. How do you determine who's gonna get money?
On a spiritual level, I pray about it and I do what I feel like I'm supposed to. And that literally has no guidance behind it, other than just strictly from what I believe is God.
Right.
Is literally like whatever number come in my head, I do it.
Okay.
But from a business perspective, when we go into a restaurant and we feel like there's a possibility that once we leave, there'll be a line out the door, or there'll be people, like I said, jumping on the plane, coming to try the food. That's when we think about it. Okay, what does this restaurant need immediately to be able to be successful if tomorrow is out the door?
Right.
And that's where the tips come included. Like the restaurant that you spoke on. If in our minds, if we don't tip or if we don't pay up the rent for 3 months and people come for just this month and they get a big boom, but they still close the month after that, or if they don't have the time in order to get adjusted, because they were talking about they were 3 months behind rent.
Wow.
So if they didn't have the time to get adjusted, it would have been a boom and that was it.
Right.
And then, God forbid, the restaurant would have closed. That 3 months allowed them to have the time not only to adjust to the crowd, but to market with each other and come up with, it gives you that time to relax, like that time to think about it. Because when you're in survival mode, you don't have any time to think about game plan, nothing.
Anything else.
So it was more of a cushion to allow them to step out of survival mode for a second and step back into the business perspective.
You don't post bad reviews. You normally say, look, we tried 4 or 5 different spots. Sometimes the spot might not have what you came for on the menu, and you just, instead of saying anything bad, you just leave that out. Is that something that happens frequently? How often does it happen? And then how do you just like, bro, I'm trying to get y'all some positive vibes.
So we don't post spots that I don't have any constructive criticism for.
Okay.
So we post spots that people can deem as bad if it's honest and I feel like it's not the best food in my opinion, I'm gonna say it.
Right.
But if it's no constructiveness out of it and I don't see any way that people can spin it into a positive way, then I don't post it. And that happens, I would say, if we go to 20 spots in the city, I would say 8 spots get posted. 20, 25. Because again, we go on a mom and pop spots.
Right.
We go on to spots that are unknown. There is a different category of why these spots aren't known, and it could either be unprofessionalism, it could be the food isn't good,
Right.
It could be that they half-ass and they just don't care about the quality of the food itself, or the healthliness. Is that the word I'm looking for? Like the cleanliness, like they just don't care about the cleanliness. So there's a lot of aspects and things that go into it. But so we just left a spot, we're not gonna say the name of it, but they known for burgers.
Right.
And they didn't have no burgers.
Right.
And it's the
offered us
middle of the day.
turkey.
They offered us turkey burgers instead.
I'm just trying to figure out, Keith. And I was talking to your sister and your mom and your wife about if it's 9 o'clock at night and the line was around the building, I could understand
Absolutely.
that. But how do you not have ground beef at 1 o'clock in the afternoon and you just open at 10 or 11?
And it's pretty slow in there right now because it's a mom and pop spot. They don't really have the marketing. And again, that's what they known for, right?
Yes.
So
you known for burgers, beef, but you offer turkey?
it's one of those things where, again, if I wanted the clout and I wanted to be a celebrity and I wanted to the views specifically, I'm posting it, not even thinking about it. But I understand there's
maybe a reason, maybe the shipment didn't come in.
Exactly. There's so many other aspects that comes into running a business that we don't see on the forefront, and I take all that into consideration. If I wanted attention, we would have been on Instagram Live right now talking about, we at such and such, and I'm with Shannon Sharp, and they didn't. But
I'm gonna come back and try it. You said that it's a spot for burgers. I'm gonna come back. I'm gonna come get one and check it out.
And what I really want to be very clear, I'm okay with being the one who get tore down before the restaurants get tore down.
Right.
And I don't think a lot of people take that into consideration, or they don't really care about it as much. This is my first time speaking on this, and it's probably going to be my only time speaking on this. I feel like I get a lot of that other restaurants or other businesses could get, but because I feel like I'm really built for this and I'm meant for this and God put me here, I'm okay with that. And I'm okay with people having a misconception about me rather than them having a misconception about the restaurant. I don't think people take that into consideration because it's so many different places. When we went to DC, we went to a lot of places, and a lot of places that were very uncleanly. It was places that literally didn't have running water, and they was fully serving food, and people was using it. My family went in to use the bathroom, couldn't flush the toilet, and it's just like, it's stuff like that. And they was serving chicken, and they was cooking out of like water bottles. Like that's where all of their water came from. Was water bottles. So they's washing hands and cooking out of water bottles. I didn't put them on blast. I didn't put that. I took the flack for it, and I got death threats because I said that we went to a bunch of spots and I wasn't gonna post them. Instead, I could have just posted it and let the restaurant be the one to get the flack. But I'm really God's soldier. I feel like I'm really one of them. And I think God uses me as a vessel. And I know my skin is strong, and I know God put me here for a reason.
Right.
And like I said earlier, I'm gonna duck off in a few years.
Right.
So while I'm here and I'm doing what I feel like I'm supposed to do, you can call me whatever you want, man.
Right.
My intentions are pure.
You spent some time in the Bay, so how was that experience?
Interesting, to say the least. Have you been to the Bay lately?
I have. Well, let's see. They lost the Raiders. They lost the A's. They say they lost Keith Lee. So right now the Bay
They just
can't
lost
hold
the In-N-Out, the very first In-N-Out to ever close.
Really? Mm-hmm. Damn.
And a lot of that is attested to the crime. A lot of that is attested to the overpopulated drug use that's out there. A lot of places have drug use, right?
Correct.
A lot of places have crime. Think what separated the Bay was that they have in my opinion, indoctrinated into the culture. So when we first announced that we was going to the Bay, there were multiple news articles saying Keith Lee might get bipped. And bipping is where they take spark plugs or they take a device where they put it up to the window, they shatter it in a second, grab your stuff, and they out within 5 or 10 seconds with everything that was in the car.
Right.
I've been to a bunch of places that was considered hood. We went to Chicago, and Chicago was one of the best places I've ever been to.
Right.
And Chicago is the top of murder capital, or top 5, I would say. In the Bay, there was a different sense of like almost pride that some people were taking in it. Like, he gonna get robbed when he here.
Right.
People that come here, y'all better, if you ask anybody from the Bay, or I've seen interviews where they ask people from the Bay, what's the number one advice that you give to people? And the first thing they say has nothing to do with the food, it has nothing to do with the experience. It's take everything out your car the second you get here because you gonna get robbed.
Wow.
And for me, I felt like that was more precedence than the food itself, because God forbid, somebody hopped on a plane after we review a spot to go try the food, they leave the airport and they get robbed. And they say, I got robbed trying the Keith Lee recommended spot. So I took that into consideration. People with these families, they have children. If a child was to get robbed or a child was injured in any sort of facet that had anything to do attached with me, I wouldn't be able to sleep at night, because I take this very serious. So I was okay with people from the Bay being mad at me for saying it. Somebody had to say it.
Right.
We got sent to the Tenderloin in the Bay. The Tenderloin is Skid Row on steroids.
Wow.
The Tenderloin, when I tell you, it was people in the middle of the streets doing hard drugs, sitting crisscross applesauce with no care in the world. And it was kids walking around. It was people with families, and they literally was just out doing whatever they felt like doing. And it was a restaurant smack dab in the middle of that people told us that we had to go try.
Was people actually in the restaurant?
Yeah, people were just sitting there eating, and then you step outside, and it's when I say like burnt cars, it's burnt trailers, it's things that almost look inhuman. And again, there's other cities that go through these same struggles, right? I just refuse for anybody that went out there after us to be put in any harm's way without me acknowledging that.
Right. Well, they need to know what they were going to get themselves into.
Exactly. And I feel like if
the full experience, not just the food, but what you were probably might have to deal with in order to go sample the food.
And I feel like if I didn't say that, it would be irresponsible on my end.
Yeah.
And I know a lot of people don't think that deep. They just was like, oh, he said the Bay food was bad. The Bay has some of the best Michelin star restaurants in the world. They have some of the most diverse food in the world when it comes to other ethnicities, other cultures, other backgrounds. That I've never doubted for a second. It has some of the best fine dining and elevated dining, but the safety was what we was most concerned with, and the accessibility to being able to see that. Like, I didn't want my kids or anybody else's kids to be exposed to that just to go get a burger or some catfish or something like that.
Have you reviewed any of the restaurants that Drake mentioned in the song?
Yeah, actually, that's funny you said that. We went to a restaurant we was in Toronto that they said was his favorite restaurant, and we ended up going twice in the span of 2 days, right? Yeah, we went once, and then it was so good, we went back literally the next morning.
What are they known for?
It was a steakhouse. What was the name of it? I don't know the name of it. But it was, they literally had a chair that was like specifically like Drake's chair. Yeah. But why Drake out of all people?
Yeah. Because, I mean, he had a... I mean, because I think the thing is that, you know, he loves Carbone's and the Polo Lounge. Have you ever been to the Polo Lounge? Giorgio Baldini's. I've been there in the Polo Lounge. If you like pasta, you'll like it.
Understood.
Yes, but it's a spot to be seen.
Understood.
I mean, paparazzi's gonna cover everybody. That somebody's gonna go there.
Oh, see, I do the opposite.
Paparazzi is lined up out.
Understood.
So when you walk in, like, well, damn, who in here? You got 15,
everybody.
You got 15 paparazzi waiting to get.
That's probably why I ain't been there yet.
Yeah,
for sure.
Celebrity restaurants. Have you tried Bun B Trill Burger?
I have. Shout out to Bun B.
What you think about the smash burger?
Amazing.
Really?
People is different because you only see quote unquote celebrities going and they saying, oh, it's good. And it's hard to take that at face value. But in my opinion, that was an amazing burger. We had it maybe 3 times already.
Wow. Tyra Banks has an ice cream. Candy Burroughs, Old Lady. Lil Baby has a seafood. Have you, I think Tip and Killer Mike got a seafood spot over in Bankhead. Have you been?
I haven't been. Nope. Shout out to T.I. though. He does amazing things in the community.
Yeah. You a dessert? You like dessert?
So I don't like sweets, but I like things that are balanced. So I like a sweet that's not like super
Too
sweet.
sweet,
Like,
yeah.
I'm starting to get old, bro. Like, I don't like nothing that make my teeth hurt.
Right.
Yeah, I like a balance.
Barbecue. Give me the
Love
5
barbecue.
cities that do the best barbecue.
From where we've been so far, I haven't had any barbecue that was better than Texas.
You like pork or beef ribs?
I like pork ribs, but
too.
that's only pork I eat for real. Pork ribs and bacon. I don't eat really like nothing. Like I don't like pork shoulder or like
Yeah, you don't like
nothing else
brisket or anything like
I don't
that.
really like brisket, but I like beef ribs every now and again. But beef ribs heavy, bro.
Yeah,
They
man.
real greasy.
Yeah.
You feel like you gotta go to sleep afterwards.
I ain't gonna
that's
doubt it.
how-
I'm gone.
Yeah, I'm gone. Yeah, that's
Yeah,
a
I'm
wrap. Yeah.
So barbecue. So you like pork ribs.
Shout out to Hutch's Barbecue in Dallas, Texas.
Do you like hot links?
I mess with some hot links. I'm a sides person too. I love potato salad.
Potato salad.
I love
Potato salad. Hot or cold?
hot or cold. You make hot potato salad? Who
Yeah,
make hot
people eat
potato
it, yeah.
salad?
When it's fresh, right out of the
Fresh
thing.
potato
Absolutely.
salad? Nah, I'm a
You cold it? You
I'm a
let
cold
it
potato salad.
refrigerate.
Let mine marinate.
Okay.
Let all them flavors get in there, coagulate, and sit and chill with each other.
Okay.
Yeah.
So mac and cheese, your favorite side? Mac and cheese, baked beans, collard greens.
There's a debate going on right now as we speak. Shout out to Teeny on TikTok. There's a debate going on about soupy mac and cheese and baked mac and cheese. Which side do you feel like you fall on?
I think I take bake.
You a bake? So you like a macaroni pie?
I mean, I don't like it soupy, but I don't like it hard either. I like it as I like a combination.
Understood. So would you prefer cheese sauce or would you prefer like eggs and like old school eggs and milk and
Old school.
evaporated milk
Yeah,
with
old
the
school.
eggs
Yeah,
and throw it
yeah,
in an oven?
yeah.
Understood. I grew up in a different era. When I make mac and cheese, I make a cheese sauce. So I make a roux. I let it sit and simmer and get real ooey gooey.
Yeah.
And then, but I throw mine in the oven.
Yeah.
Mine got to sit in the oven for at least 30, 45,
Right.
maybe even an hour, depending on how brown and crispy I want on the
Right.
top. And I'm paprika. I'm a smoked paprika kind of person. I know in different cultures, they don't really value the color as much.
No.
For me, I need a little sprinkle of that paprika, some parsley.
Okay.
Yeah, it got to look. I'm very big on visuals.
You visual. Okay.
For sure.
Cornbread.
Sweet butter cornbread.
Jalapeno, blueberry,
Regular. It could be if you want some spice, you want to flare it up, some jalapeno.
Okay.
But if my perfect ideal order, if I'm going to a barbecue spot, I'm getting some ribs.
Okay.
There's a thing in Dallas, Texas called a Texas Twinkie.
Okay.
It's a jalapeno that's wrapped in bacon,
Yeah.
filled with cream cheese, but filled with beef brisket, and is broiled and is slathered with a bunch of barbecue sauce.
Oh my.
It is insane. I ain't never had cream cheese and brisket in the same dish.
I
until
would have never
had
thought
that.
about putting it together.
Oh, it's insane. I need 1 or 2 of them.
Okay.
For sure, need some mac and cheese.
Yes.
Collard greens.
Okay.
And they will attest to this. My family will. I'm eating all this in one sitting. I'm an eating man.
Wow.
I need some cornbread for sure. I need a lemonade on the side, and I need some peach cobbler from Hutch's Barbecue.
Does the cornbread have to be cooked in a skillet?
Got to be crispy on the edges, and it got to be real butter in the middle. I don't like margarine. I don't like. Don't believe it ain't butter or can't believe it ain't. I need butter, like thick butter, like churn.
Square or slice?
Square, for sure. Again, crispy on all of the. Again, you talking my language. Crispy on all edges.
I saw it on a video. Somebody made sweet potato cornbread. Have you ever tried
And it
it?
was gas. I love sweet potato cornbread.
Damn.
It's
got
the
that out
same
here in
as
Vegas?
cornbread. I doubt it. I ain't had it yet. I don't think. But it's the same as cornbread. It's just a little more decadent because you get that real denseness
Yeah.
from the sweet potato.
Right.
And you get that like extra layer of sweetness. Yeah, sweet potato cornbread is. We just had a place in Seattle that had sweet potato hoe cakes. It was like a pancake.
Yeah.
That was made out of like cornbread. Oh my God, crazy.
What's the ideal brunch for you? Give me the brunch. If
When I'm
Keith and his
ordering-
family's going to order brunch, what are you ordering?
I need a skillet. The skillet gotta have either steak and peppers in it, or it gotta have spicy chicken with some kind of onions, peppers, garlic. I'm very heavy on garlic. So I need my skillet on the side with a sunny side up egg
Okay.
or a poached egg.
Okay.
Eggs Benedict.
Okay, I like eggs Benedict.
Super. I love the hollandaise sauce, so I need extra hollandaise sauce. Need bacon on top of it because I'm a texture person, so I need the crunch.
Okay.
Blueberry pancakes, either blueberry lemon pancakes or just regular blueberry pancakes.
Okay.
And a tall orange juice. And again, I'm eating all that in one sitting.
Wow. So you're not really a waffle or French toast type of a.
French toast is my wife.
Okay.
My sister is gluten intolerant, so every time we go out, she always gets like bacon, eggs, not bacon, fruit, and like I said, orange juice.
Right.
So I kind of dibble and dabble off their plates when we outside.
Right. You mentioned Kevin Hart reached out and wanted you to try his restaurant. I think he had a vegan restaurant. I don't think it's no longer open anymore.
I believe they just closed all locations, if I'm not mistaken. I think I just saw that maybe like a few weeks ago.
Yeah.
But in my opinion, it was delicious. I don't even eat vegan food.
Right.
I told him I was gonna be honest too. He called me while I was in a 2-bedroom, 2-bath apartment, and I'm like, Kevin, what are you calling me for?
Right.
And he like, I want you to come try the restaurant. And I was like, I'm gonna tell you straight to your face. If, in my opinion, it's not good, I'm gonna say that. And he took it he took it literally at face value. He took exactly what I said.
Right.
And that video, if I'm not mistaken, did like 10 million views in the first like 2 or 3 hours. Yeah, it was crazy.
Who would you like to collab with? Have you thought about partnering with anybody? Or you gonna keep it solo, do your own thing?
So normally, and again, I'm giving you stuff that I don't give other people because I don't really do interviews, and I specifically don't do that because I be wanting my family and the restaurants to be on the forefront.
Right.
If anybody else was to ask me, I would honestly say my wife is the biggest person that I want to collab with because as long as me and her can sit in the car together and eat food and just travel around the world, I'm more than enough, and that's more than enough for me.
What if you and I did like a
one on Shannon
10-part series where we travel and we eat some like really exotic food, like
me and you?
raccoon, possum, squirrel.
Take me to Georgia where you said you was living in the outhouse and peeing until you was 22. Show me what they eat down there.
I don't know if people. Now my sister can cook a mean raccoon. Now she probably got one in the freezer right now.
What's his name?
Libby.
Let's go get some living raccoon. But see, for me, I don't do collaborations based on who a person is.
Right.
Only time you've ever seen me in a video with somebody is somebody that I truly like or somebody that I
get it.
respected or
Totally
somebody
understand.
I'm friends with.
Yep.
So when we had the first conversation, I specifically told you, I've been watching you for years. Like, I'm not doing this because it can boost me as a person or boost my...
What you were saying? we've been trying to because I reached out to you like September of October last year, and we've been trying
I always had social anxiety, but my social anxiety at the very beginning was still as bad as it was when I was 19, 20, when I really couldn't get in front of the camera.
Right.
And I really didn't have the tools in order to be able to express myself. So when everything first took off on social media, which was in November of 2022, December 2022. So last year was the first full year where everything was taking off. So that's when you reached out to me. And transparency, everybody and their mama was reaching out.
Yeah.
Not to sound cocky, but again, I specifically do it because I didn't have the tools in order to have a conversation with people that want to have conversations. I left 90% of the people that had reached out to me already.
Wow.
It's so many celebrities and so many people of super high status that other people would jump at immediately to have a conversation with, that I was like, I just want to check. I'm just eating food, bro.
Right.
I just want to chill with my family.
Right.
I just want to eat, travel the world. That's more than enough for me. Just going to different cities and doing it specifically based on food was way more gratification and vindication I ever thought would come from this. But to answer the question of who I would like to collab with, there's a few people who, like I said, I've grew up watching. Of course, Shannon being one. Like, being here is an honor of mine. And again, it's been a year in the making of having a conversation. I really want to do 85 South show.
Okay,
I've met Carlos,
Chico, DC.
I think I met everybody but Chico in person, but I've had a bunch of conversations with Chico over the phone. Definitely 85. I want to do SNL now that they did the SNL skit. SNL is definitely on my bucket list.
Right.
It's not necessarily a person in particular, but it's just people that I'm friends with and people that I really like connect with on a true level. Those are the people that I really want to sit with. Oh, Steve Harvey.
Yes.
Yeah, I've been watching Steve for years. What's the name? Ricky Smiley yesterday made a video of doing an impression of me. Ricky, come eat some food, man.
Yeah.
Let's go eat some food, Rick.
We come back and do this 5 years from now. Where's Keith Lee? How different is Keith Lee's life going to be?
I think fundamentally it's gonna be the same because my kids are gonna be at the forefront. My wife's gonna be at the forefront.
Probably have another one or two, huh?
2 or 3. Me.
She's shaking her head. He's like, I told you one. You talking about 2 or 3, one.
Fundamentally, it's gonna be the same. But I see generational wealth. God willingly, I see us being able to pass things down to our kids. I definitely see TV shows and movies. What that looks like, I have no idea yet. I didn't think I was gonna be here.
Right.
So to think where I'm gonna be in 5 years, I have no idea. All I ask, if I'm speaking to my future self, is that I remain the person that I am to this day, as far as integrity, as far as structure, as far as me not quitting. Because I got a bunch of Nipsey Hussle quotes all over me. And I feel like he's one of the people, rest in peace, that I would have wanted to meet before he passed. I feel like as long as I can stay the course, and he said in one of his interviews, I'm not a picture of perfection. I'm a picture of not giving up. All you see with me is not quitting. Like he said, I went through every emotion with this. We're trying to pursue what I'm pursuing. Every single emotion that you could possibly think of attached to this, I've been through it. So as long as 5 years from now, I can look up and I'm still the same me, fundamentally and at the core, I made it.
All my life, been grinding all my life. Sacrifice, hustle paid the price. Want a slice, got to roll the dice, that's why. All my life, I've been grinding all my life. Look, all my life, been grinding all my life. Sacrifice, hustle paid the price. Want a slice, got to roll the dice, that's why. All my life,